because we're here. All right, so let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at, I show 6 o'clock, that clock's wrong. And first we'll start with public comments. For comments, I'm going to ask you to come up to this chair. We're going to have you state your name, please. Concisely state the question or concern upon which you are commenting. You will have 3 minutes for supporting statements. Is there any public comments at this time? Thing? John?
My name is John McGovern. I'm in Windsor. And I first want to say we all are grateful to the individuals who serve on this board and the time they give to public service in the town. And I just wanted to comment briefly about the processes and the procedures that are used to create public documents. And the last meeting on February 12th, I asked a question about whether or not this board had voted to send the package proving 1 Tier B status to the select board. As I recall, there was no clear answer to that question. Can't find that on any of the minutes, whether it did or didn't. Bottom line is it did go to the select board. The select board voted on the package, which included a map, which was then, after that, a new map was sent to the the Land Use Review Board. Little problems like that, I just want to point out. This is a matter of great concern for the town and for the community. And so in the future, I hope that those things are done properly and correctly. And finally, having to do with something that is before us now, documents that are on the website, which are being edited, specifically the zoning regulations, are edited in a way that the public has no idea what has been taken out. We see what's being added. So basically, you need someone standing next to you reading the original document and then following it. So if it can be done in a way where everything is transparent and it's not opaque, it would, in the end, will serve the public interest. And I think that the board would receive a lot of support. In the past, if you try to shut down comments, in the end, it creates more pressure and more anger and more difficulty. So I urge this board to allow us many comments, as much input, and the law actually requires that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, John. I would like to also say that when the document you're talking about is the document that we're using as the working document to create the new edits. The old document is still there to be able to be compared. That's our working document. We have to be able to do that. It is not right now available for public comment on that document because it's our working document. There will be coming up a meeting, that public meeting, that will go over all the points, and at that point in time, the changes are going to be discussed. And prior to that meeting, there will be some information that will be made available. But it's the commission's board responsibility to conform to Act 181 and Act 24. And that's what we've been tasked to do by the state. And what that document, if you look through it closely, almost all the changes in there have to do with the setbacks, the property sizes, the amount of housing allowed on a lot, those type of things. That's what's happening with it. And I don't think that we're in any way being nefarious is about trying to be opaque in the process. It's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to then present the document for public feedback, which we're going to do. At that point in time, we're supposed to take the feedback. And if we determine that there's edits that need to be made, we make them. If we make the edits, then there'll be another meeting for public feedback. After that, we'll go to the select board. They too will have a public meeting for feedback. At that point in time, they would either vote to approve them or they'd send them back to us for us to work on again. So we're very early in that part of the process as far as public participation goes. But that's why we have the board to do that work and then bring it to the public. Otherwise, the public would be doing all the work and that would never happen efficiently. Yes.
I'm Dan Jones. I live in Windsor. I'd just like clarification of what Cliff just said. Refer specifically to section 5.3D. In the document that's it's labeled HF, that's 84926. I think it was your working document.
Which we were going to discuss tonight, correct?
Okay.
That hasn't been discussed by the board. That was an edit by Harry
Okay,
because he can't be at the meeting.
what we see there is that there was originally a list of 6 items under section 5.3D. Now there's a list of 5. One item having to do with environmental regulations was completely erased. There's no evidence in that document that that subsection ever existed. And I want to make certain that when it comes out for public review, you have a copy that strikes out, clearly shows by striking out what's been removed, and through underline or bolding or other distinctive font or type, what is added. Can I take that as a commitment that the commission will fulfill in the review the document that's put out for review?
Which section are you talking about?
5.3D.
5.3D. Okay. I'm going to let Hallie address that, although I don't want to get too much into the weeds with this because if we're welcome to
Yes,
have that.
yes. So, Cliff, all these documents are still in the, we're not finalized working on it. There will be a public hearing for the public that we will give them enough time to review, and all the items, all the document will be discussed in the public hearing. And we will take all the comments and review their comments. And if we need, we will adjust the documents according to that.
Okay, I'm not asking about comments. I'm asking about how the document will be presented to the public for its review. Will it be presented in a way that we can clearly see?
Yes,
What is
with
it?
all track changes. Yeah, we kept the document as is, and all the changes were added either as comments or with the track changes. So you will be able, and you are also able from now to see what was removed or planned to be removed, edited, or added.
Well, we are not able now to see.
Well, I'm not sure. There's a number of documents.
It's a
and I'm not sure
technical
if you're looking
issue,
at the
but
right
the
one.
document is
Okay.
with track
Why
changes.
redo it? Okay. There's the old one and the.
Make
This
sure
isn't what I
that
get, and this
You're
isn't
not
the
going to.
document I'm referring
This is
to.
not available right now. This is what we're working on, but you will see it when we're done. You're putting the cart before the horse. We have to finish our work.
You just wanted a commitment, that's all. Just,
Yes.
yes.
It's here. It's into the entire thing,
So
day
you-
one all the way through, every change,
Yeah.
including the dates in the document.
So the date on that document is September 11th of last year. You now have a document available on the website dated 4/9/26.
That was a working document submitted by one of the commissioners, because he can't be here tonight, with some edits that were in there. So that is not a document that is in any way part of what's happening. And that's the problem with it.
Is this working document that you're working from available on the website so that we can see how things are progressing? Or do we have?
I would like to, I will get some clarification from the town manager if that's a requirement for us to do. Because otherwise it'll become chaos. Everybody will want their input for every little thing. You have a commission that's been appointed to do this work. This is our job. And we're doing it. We're gonna be transparent, and there's gonna be a time and a place for public input.
The public outreach is done through the public hearings.
I mean, what you're asking is, well, maybe you should join the board if you wanted to have this, because that's where this work happens, is at the board level. The commission is the one who writes this.
Okay, well, I will recall the meeting of February in which people came in here and complained about what they were seeing, and you kept saying, we've been working on this for 6 months. Where were you?
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to follow things as they progress. And you've got a working document. I don't see why we
But
can't see it.
you have to be looking at the correct working document.
No?
I don't really, I appreciate your information and appreciate your point. We can't lose another meeting. We have to get done what we need to get done. So I appreciate that. The 3 minutes for the discussion is up. I'm more than happy to talk to you after the meeting. You can send me an email, or maybe we can talk on the phone.
Yeah.
But we can't keep losing time on this right now. The information is there. The document I'm looking at is there. The one that shows the changes is there. If you're not,
Where?
it's in the packet folder. And there's 3 different working documents in there. If you're not looking at the correct one, that could be the issue.
So that document with the strikeouts and underlines that you just showed me is in your,
It's in that packet.
is in the agenda packet.
It's in the packet.
Okay.
I think so, but you're not able to do any edits to
So,
change it.
John, sometimes you will need to review the document in a certain way. So probably you did not click to show all the comments, maybe, or to activate that. We don't share Word documents, we share PDFs. Just make sure when you review it to activate all the comments to be shown on the screen. And please don't hesitate to email me if you have any comments or suggestions. We're more than happy to look into it and discuss it during our meetings.
Yeah, I think she's right. If you're not seeing them, it's because you have to click to open up the comments area. Otherwise, you're not going to see all the changes. You open that up and you see who made the changes, the date they were written, and what was changed. But if you don't click that, you don't see it.
I'm Rosemary. I live in Windsor. Just one quick question.
Sure.
I appreciate that you're going to share with us before the hearing the document showing all the changes. Can you just tell me the time frame? How long we will have from the date that revised document is available to us to the date of the hearing?
When we vote on the document, I believe it's 15 days before the first hearing can be done. It doesn't mean it'll happen in 15 days. It means that's the shortest time frame.
Okay, thank you.
At that point in time, we're hope to have something that we can find a place that's easily accessible for people to look at. Box is not a really easy thing to get in and see stuff. So I'm hoping to have on the Planning Commission page itself and the Town of Windsor website, a link that would bring you to the document. And we'll also be working on some materials for presentation at that time, to be able to step through it and say, here's what it was, here's what it is, this is what it used to be, this is what it's gonna be. That's all gonna be there at the time.
15 days minimum, you're saying?
I believe that's.
Okay, great.
I'm fairly sure that's right?
Right.
The regulations.
Statutorily, it's 16 days minimum.
Okay, thank you.
So I have plenty of time to go through it. Okay. If that's it, I can find my agenda. Well, whether he still wants to be here or not, I'm not sure, but the commission would like to welcome James to the commission. James Clark.
Sorry to
I don't blame you. Wait, you can't leave.
Happy to be here.
I talked you into it and you're stuck now. So if you'd like to just briefly introduce yourself to anybody. I know you know most of these people here, but.
Not everybody, but James Clark, joined the Planning Commission as of a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And been in the town a couple of years, restoring an old federal house that's about 220 years old, and got a passion for historical properties and towns and that side. So I'm hoping I can help Windsor Town with, say, the downtown is I think is a key area. I've often lived in historic houses in England and also in the US. Restored some of them, restoring one today. And so I've got a lot of experience personally on planning with respect to being what you might say on the right side or the wrong side, depending on what the topic is. So I understand to some extent, you know, from my experience again on the importance of the planning regulations, the importance of this document. And three of you have mentioned the importance of it on your questions. And it has to be well done. Otherwise, we can have problems within the actual planning. And that meaning that if you ask 20 people to follow a document and design a house, you might get 20 totally different ideas or schematics. Some of them, some people say are wonderful, others will say it's not. So I'm hoping I can put in a little bit of the historic side and practical business side. We need more jobs in Windsor as well. So we've got to look at both sides. That's it in the summary.
Okay, great. Now, up next would be changes to the agenda, and we're going to, at some point in time, we need to get into the zoning amendments, and after that, we need to probably do it during other business. And we're going to talk about taking an official vote on having the commission go to twice a month on second Thursday and fourth Thursday following the select board, because it's going to take that to get all the work we have to get done. And probably at that same time, Jason, you had some things you wanted to bring before the board. We can talk about that. In the meantime, we need to get into our zoning bylaws stuff. Next up would be approval of prior minutes. Mike, we don't.
Well, then it's a point of order.
What is the point of order?
Okay, I'll explain.
You don't actually have the ability to do a point of order from there, but I'll let you talk just this one time because we've got to get through this.
I thought you were saying the first item was changes to the agenda.
Correct.
What I expected was someone to make a motion to make a change to the agenda, someone to second it, there'd be a discussion and you vote on it. That's the way it's always been done.
When you're doing an organizational thing, such as us changing our meeting dates and time, that's not required. Jason is coming to speak to us about some stuff with Mark, and at that point in time, we could even include it under public comments, even if we wanted to go that direction with it. Because it's not on the agenda, and it's not really an agenda item. From Jason's here because they're consulting on the zoning side and helping us writing the zoning. So that's his primary thing. And then he wants to talk a little bit about the regional plan issues that have come up that have some concerns. And I knew you guys have some concerns with them too. As far as the timelines for that have changed and some things like that. So along with there's some changes into the map for the prison property that everybody noticed that needed to be addressed. So I know we're going to talk about, he's going to talk along the lines of things going on there. And if we want to, at that point in time, after Jason says what he has to say, if you guys want to have some comments, obviously it'll all be in that same segment. So we have plenty of time to go through that. And, but as far as the changes to the agenda, we're just talking about setting our meeting dates and time. And that's not a normal thing to do. But I appreciate your concern with that. But I familiarized myself with a lot of this and those type of things. There's not part doesn't even necessarily have to be an agenda item. Back where we were, approval of prior minutes. Would like, somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes? Mike, I know you pointed something out on it that,
Not from the 24th. I think.
oh, that was,
Yeah.
that's this, because the date didn't
It's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm good with the meetings from the 24th, so I would make a motion to approve the minutes from March 24th.
Okay. Anybody want to make a second on that? Brendan, you there? John, James, you want to do it?
I wasn't there.
Well, that's true. You weren't here.
I think you lost Brendan.
Did we? Okay, well, I'll make the second then. So all in favor of approving the changes to the agenda, Mike? I'm not changing the agenda. I'm sorry. Approve the prior minutes. You guys are getting me off my stance here.
Yeah, I'm in favor. Aye.
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 I'd have it. Minutes approved. They'll be published on the website. Right, let's get into the fun. The zoning bylaws, we are. Did we get Brendan back? Can't see what that says.
It's probably him. Yeah. We have to admit him. Yeah. She goes.
Okay. Okay, so Ali, the document that you want us to is the Word document that's in here, 9/11/2025.
Yeah, so it's the same document that you all have access to it. For like, I have not made a lot of changes, but all the discussions we had, all the analysis we made to bring most of the properties into conformity is what guided the change for these dimensional standards. So if you would like, we can go through section by section, or if you have a general comments on each section, and we can discuss that separately. So whatever approach you would like to.
Well, since it's been almost 2 months and we're actually gone through it, I think we should quickly review the ones that we've made a lot of changes to. I did have a couple of questions too, but let's go ahead and I think the place to start would be table 2.1, because the rest of it is just the boilerplate. Couple of minor changes in there, but we did, and Jason brought this up in an email, we did determine that we were just going to have a res 10 there, right? And eliminate the 25.
Yeah, I think we decided that. That was which table you're talking to? It's this one.
Yes. So we should probably, that would now change to just res 10, would it not? Because it's, it takes the minimum and then anything above that's fine.
Just give me a second. I'll try to share from the other computer. This one is not working. But if you're opening it, you can also share it until I have the chance to open it, the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, where we are. Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, that's much better.
Yeah, not gonna. Right now, we're gonna stick with all the setbacks and everything, get that section, then we'll go back and this is stuff we can finish writing up. Presentation purposes and go through it, but I know we're not gonna end up getting it finalized tonight.
Yeah, we forgot to remove this one. So, hold on.
But if you have things you wanted to add to the purpose statement, it's an agent for you.
I'm not seeing the word. Speculated.
Okay.
Bring it back in.
I think it was.
Okay, so we're done with this table. Are we good on the lot size, frontage, setback for the front, side, rear, and height?
Of the residential 10, I think the changes were front setback went from 50 to 30, minimum side went from 50 to 40, and rear setback went from 75 to 40, and that's, but I can't remember.
Mhm. That's based on the analysis, and that's the least that we can go for. Again, we did not bring all properties into conformity, but we're trying to enhance the situation and make the residents struggle less having some permits or applying for permits.
Right, and one of the other things that were conforming to 181 is we removed accessory dwelling on all of them from conditional use, making it permitted use. So we'll just make that statement now because it applies to every one of them. So there's no reason to say it every single time we go through every single one. Anybody have any other comments, or are we good with that section? Brendan?
Good by me.
Okay, just making sure you're awake.
Question on the zoning map, the section 2.1. I couldn't find it in the Windsor document. Is that where it, or the present one?
I'm not exactly sure, but we're not doing anything with that this time around. This is only, by the way, and everybody should know this, when we're done with the town plan, it's the commission's intent to come back and review anything that happened to the town plan that would affect the zoning that would be a desire for us to make other changes in zoning to conform to what the goals of the town plan are. This changes are to conform to 181 and Act 24. And they have some very specific things that all towns have to do, because if we don't do them, then the property owners would not be qualified to get any of the benefits of there's actually a grant out there for up to $50,000 to help them if they want it. So right now, they can't get it because we don't conform. So that's main goal here is doing that. And the other main goal is over the course of many decades, there's been a lot of properties built in certain areas and they didn't conform. And so we're trying to get as many, and Holly did a fantastic job of going out and identifying how many properties were conforming and not conforming. And there is a sheet on that. And we're trying to bring as much as we can of the entire town of Windsor into becoming conforming, because it's been kind of willy-nilly. And frankly, if you're going to do something, you want to make a change, it's like, well, it was okay for that guy, how come it's not okay for me? So we're trying to get away from all of that and make sure that it all conforms. Go ahead, really quick, because I don't want us to stop on every little thing, but.
Oh, I didn't know if we were allowed to comment within subsections of your. I just heard you say that specifically you're talking about setbacks in residential 10, going from, and I don't remember the exact number, but let's say it's 150, et cetera. And you said that was based on requirements in Act 181. Could you tell me, or tell us, where in 181, what that's based on? In other words, the more transparent these changes are to all of us, it would make it easier. That's my only.
I will in the public meeting refer to specific things, but this is more conform to the conforming. I said two things. 181, Act 24, and also trying to bring as many properties into a conformance so that the zoning laws make sense to what we have here now. So there's three factors here. And which one that's changing for, we can go through it another time. But otherwise, I think we really have to wait. The questions you're asking for are the appropriate questions to be asked when we're having the public and you see the documents prior to it at that point. To note, where specifically the changes are and what we're trying to do. Okay, let's keep going. So.
Okay. Now for the rural district, also we moved the accessory dwelling from conditional uses to permitted uses. And we had a discussion about exactly the density and the minimum lot size. So no change has been made to this district. We kept everything the same, probably, unless it's only for the accessory dwelling. But we had a lot of discussion on minimizing the lot size and the maximum density for the district. So,
and that's was going to be my next question that I was going to throw over to Jason. Maximum density in the rural district is, and that we're showing 1 unit per 5 acres. Is that conforming, or is that one where you could do it, make that into a duplex? That was one of the things I wasn't certain about when we were talking about it.
Yeah, when it comes to where there's water and sewer service, that wouldn't be good because, what this is saying is 1 dwelling unit for 5 acres, right? And so where there's water and sewer service, statute's clear that you have to allow for at least a 4-unit dwelling on the same lot as a single family house. This isn't as crystal clear as that is, but I do wonder if you need the density standard at all. And you're including the minimum lot size, do you need the density? I don't know that you do.
We talked about removing, where else did we see the density? Do you remember that conversation, right? Oh, the minimum
There's a
lot size per family unit. Is there a race going on?
Brendan's side, yeah.
Probably Brendan.
Yeah, we talked about the minimum lot size per family unit. I think
We were
it's a
gonna
slightly
take that out.
different discussion, right? But
We're gonna take that out, but this one, yeah, I just noticed that too.
But in this case, in the rural district, you do have, again, the minimum lot size is currently 40,000 square feet. And am I looking at the right one? No, I'm sorry.
No, it's 5 acres.
Rural is 5 acres, excuse me. And then you have a maximum density of 1 unit per 5 acres. I don't think you need both standards. And it might lead to some confusion. If you have a house on 5 acres, they want to convert to a duplex, is that a problem?
Okay, so we should, and this was what Harry, I wish you could have made it here tonight. Because he's an expert in this stuff. He was talking about the densities on both sides, I think of it, because they're running to this issue with the TROC and Woodstock as having the exact same problems. And I think at the meeting I saw, they were talking about this exact same issue with the 5 acre lot. And making it conforming. Now, the counter argument was, they didn't seem, at least in that area, and I don't know what it's like in Armagh, that there was a lot that had water and sewer in the rural area.
I don't think there's much. I don't think there's much, if any.
But it just makes sense that we make it more, be the same standard everywhere, right? And just take the density out, or,
I think so. I don't know, Hallie, if you have an opinion on that, but I think it would be cleaner and a little easier to understand if we just deleted if you keep the minimum lot size, but you delete the density standard.
what we don't want them to do is build a 25 unit on it, though. How do you then go back the other way, saying if somebody wants to take an advantage of it beyond 181, would that then trigger an Act 250? I think it might.
I don't see a multifamily structure even listed under the allowed uses, so
I see
I don't even think
it.
that's a possibility,
Um,
unless I'm missing it.
yeah, I have to clarify something. So I'm comparing this document, the Word document, with our regulations, and apparently someone was changing without tracking changes. So this is not the actual regulations that we have. And comparing. So for the rural, for example, we had Class A and Class B. Class A is removed, and now I can open both documents and we can compare. But the thing is that someone actually changed, worked on the document, deleted without tracking changes. This is why it does not look right. I was confused with the changes. It's not what we had, but now it makes sense. And I also looked back into the PDF for that, the same date. It does not match this document that we kept changing. So okay. Just give me a second and I'll share both. Okay, so this is the document, the Word document that we were all working on. And this is our current regulations. So for example, the resources district, there was residential 25, and this was removed. Yes, I know we agreed to remove it and to keep residential 10, but this should have been done with track changes to see exactly. I can fix that, but I cannot do that now. For the rural district, as you can see, we moved the accessory dwelling from conditional to permitted, and we removed the Class A and kept the Class B. All the dimensional standards are the same. What we moved is the maximum coverage, I think. No, we kept it the same. This one, there was no change, but you see, anything that we do should have been done with track changes. Okay. So let's compare both documents. As for the maximum density, well, the purpose is to keep the density low in the rural district. We could remove it for other districts with higher density, but like, I think we should specify how many dwellings actually can fit. The use tables only allow two-family dwellings, single-family dwelling. I don't see multi-family dwelling unless it's, yeah, even here. So maybe we could add the multi-family dwelling to the conditional use, and this will make sense then.
Yeah, but then if you did that and we had, say, it currently allows for a two-family dwelling, but if it's 1 unit per 5 acres, then there would have to be a 10-acre lot to be able
Yeah.
to put it on it. And this is the exact problems that they were running in
Right.
there. I mean, to a T. I watched this whole section of their meeting that went on for 30 or 40 minutes just trying to work their way around it, which I wish Harry was here because they figured it out. And I'm not exactly sure what solution they came up with for that, but this would not conform with the new 181, right? Because of the fact that you're supposed to be able to have a multifamily up to 4.
Well, I don't think there's water or sewer service in the rural district.
I don't think so either.
So I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is it's just kind of confusing. And
It is.
you don't presently allow for multifamily dwellings in the rural district. It's really only a duplex situation. And do you really, is the intent to require a duplex to have 10 acres? And if not, I would say get rid of that density standard. In fact, I think you should get rid of the density standard. That's my 2 cents, but I don't think that serves a great policy purpose to have that in there.
Is a unit a single building rather than,
Well, that's the question. It's maybe not clear. If it was a single building, then it would be okay. If it was a quote unquote dwelling unit, maybe not okay.
Yeah, because we had this discussion on the amount of
Right.
units that the state is ambitiously saying that Windsor can absorb. And then by 2030, 300 and something of them. That's their numbers, but I don't see how it could be done. Anyway, that's a different discussion. At that time, a unit was considered anything from a 1 to a 3 bedroom. It was just a different street address in the same building, if you will. Apartment A, B, C, or D. A, B, and C, and D are all individually counted as a unit. So that would be a 4 unit.
So I don't see unit defined. Again, I think it's a little confusing, but
So I don't know how we get around that. Because you're saying don't have any, we can't go with no density on it though.
why not? So some towns do. So you could, in theory, one option is that the rural district just doesn't have a density standard. It only has the minimum lot size standard. That would be one option.
What happens when somebody wants to build something on it?
Well, 2 things. I mean, if it's a legally existing lot and they can meet the setbacks, they get their permit, they can build it,
Whatever it is.
pretty much. I mean, as long as it's meeting the rules.
There's a way that we can control that. So we're missing the maximum coverage. Okay, the maximum structural coverage, which actually,
That would do it. a lot.
yeah. So if we remove the maximum density and we decide on the maximum coverage of the land. So in that way, we allow more housing, but at the same time, we keep the density as we want it. So it's I find it the same, by the way. So
but that will give you potentially less but bigger development in the rural area.
Well, yeah, and the issue is that it's great. It's 1 unit per 5 acres, but nothing is specifically exactly 5 acres. You know, what are you doing with somebody who has 7 acres? What are you going to do with those type of things? So it becomes very confusing as to what they can do with that. Because the 5 acres is the minimum size. Somebody can have 25 acres. I don't know, that's still,
But yeah, really, so if they had 7 acres and you have a 5 acre minimum lot size, you could not subdivide. example.
Right.
You're stuck with your 7 acres unless you do a lot line adjustment or something. You can build a house on it, basically,
Right.
or a duplex.
But what if they wanted to put a 4-unit in?
At the moment, they can't do that because multifamily
So is
development is
the
not
best way to
allowed.
handle that is just say no multifamily in the rural?
Yeah.
Does that eliminate that issue, you think? And then we
Because you
change
don't allow-
1 unit, we could change 1 to 2, make it 1-2 unit per 5 acres. And then, and have no multifamily. Does that accomplish the goal?
Well, right now, rural district does not allow multifamily, so it's kind of a non-issue.
But it allows 2-family.
It allows 2-family.
But according to what we're saying now, if you want a 2-family, you'd have to have 10 acres.
Right.
Probably, depending on how one
And I don't-
defines unit. Yeah,
That doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know if it's possible, but can we just say that it's 1-2 unit per 5 acres? So it covers a a 2-family and a single, and then there would be no multi, so you wouldn't be allowed any more than a 2-family. Does that work? Holly?
Well, the regulations have to be clear. It's confusing the way we're saying it now. It's either we keep it like this or we reduce the requirement or increase if you want to increase. But I don't think it's wise to increase. So if the purpose is to increase the density there, which I think a lot of people will not go with that approach. What's wrong with the 1 unit per 5 acres? And if they have 2 units, 10 acres?
you could add a definition for unit as used in this maximum density standard to mean 1 building. Or it could be a 2-unit dwelling in 1 building, and that's
Mhm.
1 unit per 5 acres. And if you did that, that could solve the issue too.
Yeah, I'm envisioning 1 building. I'm not envisioning 2 buildings on it.
I think you just want to be clear.
Instead of using unit, you use permitted use, and then that will link you to the definitions above. Maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, again, I think maybe it's more of a definition thing. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
So we add a definition for the unit.
So Hallie, I think the suggestion was maybe instead of saying unit, maybe you say 1 permitted use per 5 acres.
One permitted use.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because what doesn't make sense is that you're right, because everything else in permitted use doesn't necessarily reflect to the term unit at all. You know?
I think as long as we're clear, it's good.
I mean, because I'm thinking kind of a retro thing. Somebody's got a, 5,000 square foot house currently on a 5 acre lot. And they want to turn it into a duplex. Right now, they can't do it.
Right, and I think we want to allow for it.
I
So I think
think we definitely want to allow for that. I don't think we want to restrict that. That's not the intent of the housing changes we're trying to achieve, so. Okay. Does that work for you, Holly? We're gonna note that way and then,
Yeah, I added that here.
okay. Great. So now let's talk about the low density side of things.
Yeah.
So in the low density side, I did notice something that, I don't, it's not a big deal to me. But we went from the minimum footage used to be 50 and it went to 75 as far as the minimum frontage. Do you remember I don't remember doing that.
It was 40,000. Now for the lot size, it's 35. So it's better to compare what we have in the regulations with here, because apparently many changes were not included right. The minimum frontage, it was 150 here, and now it's 75. So it's the half.
Yeah, you're right. Some reason this document is not picking
Yeah,
up what the
yeah.
exact old stuff was, because it shows 50 and it said
Confusing.
75. I said, I know we didn't do that.
Exactly. We reduced, we did not increase anything in this
That
district.
makes sense.
Right.
I went out my digital tape measure to figure out what the heck is 75 in difference, and I went in front of my house to figure it out. It's like, am I really worried about something I'm not worried about? But there's a big difference there. So, okay.
Okay, the front setback is the same, 40, and the side is 20, the rear is 30. Harry is joining us.
Oh, he is.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Harry.
Hey, Harry, glad you're here.
Also, we reduced the rear from 40 to 30, and we increased the maximum structural coverage from 15 to 20.
Harry, we're at table 2.3, low density residential district. It's a quick catch up, and we'll drop back down here again. We had a discussion that I know you had a discussion about on the rural district and the unit per acres. And it was, let me know when you can get to that point, if you have the document open.
I can see it on Hallie's screen share.
Okay,
But
great. So what the change was that after some discussion and James coming up with a stroke of genius, I hope, if you read what it says, we just said the permitted uses per 5 acres for maximum density.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason for that is the concern was,
The duplex law?
well, the duplex, but also if we took out one unit, or we tried to define 1 or 2 units, it becomes confusing. And what do we do if somebody decides they wanted to put, like a multifamily on it, which we all agree we don't really want to see that. So that's kind of a really neat way to put it, because it accomplishes everything that's in 1 through 11 above inside of 5 acres, essentially, which gives a single and a 2 families.
Yeah, that's kind of novel to me, but it makes sense.
Good. Well, that's James's idea. Credit where credit is due.
Pretty clever.
Okay.
We might use that multiple times.
Yeah, I might see that. Might use that again.
And we're good for the low density.
Anybody have any? Mike? James? Brendan? Brandon? Oh, wow. Are you with us?
I'm here.
Oh. Are you good with where we are in 2-3 low density residential?
Yep.
Need consensus before I move on.
Medium density.
Yep.
Here we added the multifamily to the permitted uses. We moved it from the conditional use, and we removed the accessory dwelling from the conditional use. Yeah, here we had quite number of changes. So all these changes actually increase the density, the minimum lot size from 12,000 to 10,000, for class A, 1, let's say 2 and 3, and these are based on the water and sewer.
Now, if I remember right, we were suggesting removing the minimum lot size per family unit.
I would strongly encourage deleting that, yes.
And I think Harry had suggested that before. Right, Harry? Or am I wrong?
I'm sorry, say that again.
That we were gonna remove minimum lot size per family unit
Um,
out of medium density.
out of medium density. Yeah, I mean, I think the usage of a density requirement to me is mainly about areas where there are large lot sizes, where multifamily is allowed. So it kind of puts a upper cap on how many units could be put on like a large lot for a multifamily. Our lot sizes are generally so small in, you know, the medium density areas and above central commercial and high density that I don't know that it does much. And the other dimensional standards kind of put the limit on the largest physical size of something that can go there. So yeah, I don't know that they're much use. I feel like Jason also had maybe made that suggestion.
Yeah, I think, I don't like it. I don't think it meets, the Home Act requirements. So.
Oh, there goes Brenda.
So I think, you know, when you have water and sewer, have that, at least in parts of the medium density district, you, 4-unit dwelling needs to be a permitted use review. And so that's one comment. And then you can't have site plan review for that. And then you also can't require a larger lot size than you would for a single family house. And so the family unit standard is problematic in that sense. And so I would suggest you just get rid of it.
I agree, because the numbers don't work.
And the numbers don't work.
If anybody wants to multiply 4 times 20,000 square feet and to tell me how that fits inside 40,000 square feet, I'd like to know, because I can't see how that works, much less 5,000 times 4, that's 20,000. And you know, it's supposed to go into a 10,000 square foot. It doesn't, the numbers don't work. It's just totally confusing. Is everybody in agreement to remove that? Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Now let's.
High density residential. Same thing. We now have the multifamily with the permitted uses, and we remove the conditional use of the accessory dwelling.
I just want to make, Holly, before we go there on the medium density, make sure that everybody's happy with the setbacks, and the structure coverage thing can become an issue now too with this though. I'm a little concerned that the structure and allowable structure sizes may not be practical to putting a multifamily into that space.
I think we had a long discussion about the classifications in this area too, because really how much of our medium density residential isn't on sewer or water? Not much. So.
Any other thoughts along there? I mean, is everybody, if they're good with what it is, but a 30% structure coverage, I just have to me, if you've got the setbacks and then you got the structure coverage, it's kind of like, it's hard to visualize how it fits together.
Let me just look if
Probably did something with this once before. I'm wondering if we have something looked where else.
I think the 30% coverage on the class 1 is a little small. I mean, you're talking about 50 by 60.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You
Pretty
could
small.
small. A 4 family there. That doesn't work.
Personally, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'd like to see that a bigger number.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm looking to the analysis that we've done, and
Oh, good.
mainly the main issues in most of the districts are with the setbacks, not the coverage. This one has an issue with the coverage. So in this column, you would be able to see exactly why the non-conform, where does it come from, okay? I don't see a lot of the properties that has this issue, okay? So does not seem to be a big problem for what we have.
I'm thinking of future though. If people want to
You know,
do some more development inside this area, which the medium density has a lot of area that's available, and I can think of, potentially a number of places that could, have some new structures or somebody can increase what they have. I don't think we want to hold them back on that, do we?
so do you want us to remove it?
Well, the setbacks kind of control that, don't they? Because you still have to say if you're going to have parking in the rear, the building would have to be small enough to allow a driveway through. You'd still have the setback affecting the driveway and everything that's there. That would automatically start to determine the size that you could functionally put there.
I guess is the structure coverage percentage calculated based on the setbacks at the moment?
I don't think they're related. Not that I'm seeing.
That's a good question, but I don't think they do include the size.
No.
I think it's just the total parcel area.
I'd like this. I mean, I know in the high density we have it at, we went from 40 to 50%. In the medium density, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking for suggestions. Just trying to envision building something on a lot.
Let me just check something. I'll just stop sharing for a while.
With 50%, that would mean you could build a 5,000 square foot house on it.
Well, a 5,000 square foot footprint.
Footprint, right. So by the time you put all the pieces together, that would fit a multifamily dwelling at 50% reasonably, I think. Or am I looking at that wrong, Harry?
No, I'm okay with 50. I'm looking at the map, looking at where the medium density areas are. I'm seeing pretty much the entire medium density area has at least sewer, if not sewer and water. So I'm not really sure.
Right.
There's very few parcels even that I'm seeing that have access to neither. So I'm not sure what class 3 would even be. But yeah, for class 1, I think higher is totally appropriate. It's like all the small lots up kind of like 44 Coal Hill Road, Back Mountain Road, that area, and then up towards like Channing Drive, Jewett Drive, Juniper Hill. Those all have sewer.
For reference, if it helps, looking at the class 1 lot, 10,000 square foot minimum lot size with a 75-foot frontage, it's like 75 by 133 is the smallest lot. And if you subtract from that the setbacks, you get basically 50% lot coverage.
I knew that.
So you're spot on.
Okay, well, everybody good with going to 50%, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't know enough really, but I'll go with the flow there.
Don't wait, just sign it. Brendan?
Yeah, good.
Okay. And Harry, I assume since you brought it up, you also are good with it.
Aye, aye.
Okay, so let's make that change. And now for what do we want to do with the class 2s and the class 3s? Do we really That would be, one municipal sewer, individual water. I've brought this up in the past. I'm not sure how much difference that actually makes, because if individual water, I mean, to me, you can do more with that because of the fact that you don't have a leach field there. I'm not.
Access to sewer is more important than access to water. I agree. In terms of
So-
the intensity of development that you can get on a small site.
But it's currently at 25%. Does that, I mean, that essentially, if that stays at 25%, we're talking the exact same size structure that we're allowing on class 1 to now be the maximum size structure you can put on class 2 at double the lot size.
Hmm.
That doesn't sound right to me either.
Right.
So we should bring that up, but I'm not sure. I don't know that 50% makes sense, because that's a pretty big structure at that point. Wouldn't it be? That would be,
Pretty big.
yeah, like an 8,000 square foot structure, I guess, by the time you take all the other pieces out of it. That's pretty damn big. I don't know that we need to have. And the medium density, whether we, I don't know, that's a good debate. What do we look at it from stateside?
You know, the question is whether there's adequate soils. And I don't know that.
Well, they would have sewer on that one. So the soils aren't important.
Yeah, that's really not a big issue. I'm just trying to think it through. I don't know that it matters from a state statute point of view. I think whatever you think works best from a practical point of view, from a town policy point of view.
Well, I'm more in town character point of view. You know, I don't like some stuff that's completely out of the, you know, the way the neighborhood and the whole feel of a neighborhood is, to come and have something go in there that just completely disrupts that area is not a good idea either. And the medium density is considered 1A, isn't it? I mean, 1B.
I'd have to compare the different maps. Maybe, but not necessarily.
Because if it's not, then it's going to go through the DRB anyway.
Well, it's going to go through the DRB. Whether it goes through Act 250 is the question.
Right. And DRB, if somebody's trying to do something completely out of character, like
They do have rules about that, so
they can, so we should let them handle that.
potentially.
I still think the lot size needs to be bigger than 20, I mean, the maximum structure cover needs to be bigger than 25% though. I'd say we go to 30 on it. I'm not excited about going too huge. What do you guys think? Or do you want to leave it that?
I don't see a lot of towns in Vermont regulating structure coverage at all. I don't know if that's consistent with your experience, Jason, but I would also be interested to hear from Hallie to remind us if that's a specific thing that you actually see a lot of nonconformity with, or does that even come up?
Which one?
Structure coverage and like medium density and below.
Does not seem to
I mean,
be.
the bigger the lot, I feel like the harder it is to, you know,
Yeah.
you're never going to hit that. The bigger the lot.
Yeah, and I'm also looking into the map, and it does not show like.
Okay.
People like to leave enough space, but you know, if we remove the, so my opinion, it's either we keep this and we play with it, or we keep this and we increase it or decrease it. But to remove both, it's not a good approach, because you need to leave some space, because we already reduced all the setbacks. It will, we will, you know, make it from medium density to high density if we keep reducing the requirements in that area.
I mean, I think the lot sizes are going to mainly ensure that there's a difference between those two districts. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Well, short answer, Cliff, if we're going to keep maximum structure coverage as a thing, and class 1 is now 50%, yeah, 30% for class 2. And I don't think many people are going to run into that.
Yes,
Then
exactly.
20 in class 3? 50, 30, 20?
Sure. Fine by me.
One observation is, if your minimum lot size is 10,000 in class 1 and it's a 50% coverage, that's 5,000 acres or 5,000 square feet. If it's 20,000 for class 2, 25%, same number, 5,000. If for class 3, if it's 40,000 square foot minimum, 12.5% coverage would be, again, 5,000. So that would make equivalent building scale.
But it's 3 times the lot size.
Right, because that's, you're allowing extra room for the septic or well. But you're allowing the same scale building in each of those scenarios.
Okay, so
If that's what the goal is, that's just one way to look at it.
I think you should allow a little bit larger building on a lot that's 4 times bigger than the class 1 instead of the same.
I'm okay with that. Just again,
It's a valid point. I mean, that's just my opinion. Everybody, don't forget, you have the right, and I desire you disagree with me because I think I'm always right.
Yeah, I mean, 40,000 is still just under an acre. As I said, though, I mean, looking at the map, like there really aren't that many medium density, if any, medium density residential areas that don't have sewer. The only one I'm seeing is kind of the Orchard Street cluster up there off of Route 5. That's kind of the only medium density area I'm seeing that doesn't have sewer being going through it. So, and that's where you're concerned about leaving space for a leach field. I understand, but I don't know. People also have like outbuildings and stuff, which would count towards the structure coverage, and you're starting to get towards the more rural parts of town. People are going to have that more often. I don't know.
I'm still of the mind of 50, 30, 20. Because I agree, if you got a bigger outsize and you still want to have a decent house, but what if you want to have a barn? Although I granted 1 acre is not, it'd be a small barn. Or a garage, 2-car garage. I mean, you have to have some flexibility with that. How does everybody feel? Mike?
Yeah, I'm okay with going to 50, 30, 20.
James? Harry?
Yes, sir.
Brendan?
Good for it.
50, 30, 20.
Make it so, Cap. Okay. High density.
High density. We only have 1 class. And again, we did the same. We added the multifamily to the permitted uses and we reduced the minimum lot size. You want also to remove the minimum lot size per family unit?
Yeah.
Okay. And all the other setbacks are reduced now, including the maximum coverage, it's increased.
Those were your setback recommendations, right, Hallie?
Yeah, it's based on the analysis, not my
Yep.
own, so yeah.
Yep.
Does the maximum height equate to a 3-story building?
It's a little bit taller. It depends on,
You could have 3 stories.
yes. I again, my little digital measuring, I went around and started measuring buildings on State Street to figure out exactly what the hell we're talking about because it's very confusing. And the other thing that can be confusing and it's not defined here is where is that 60-foot maximum height start from? Because we have a building on State Street that the front side of it is about 48 feet or 47 feet, something like that. But you go around back and it slopes down. If you take it from there, it's like 62 feet to the top because there's a big slope and there's a whole nother floor underneath it. that triplex that's there. So if you really want to start splitting hairs, I don't think we can actually cover all those circumstances, but we do have a lot of sloped area that buildings are built on. And so the question is if we run into that and somebody's building on a slope and they want to have a walkout basement or that kind of property, that's split level or whatever that's there. Traditionally, what is considered the height? Is that from at the street facing side, Holly? Is that normally the traditional way to view that?
Well, I'm not sure, but that's what we used to do. So you take from the upper street and you take to the highest point in the building. This is what the standards I used to work on. How they treated here, it should be the same, but everything is different in the United States. I have to check that. But I think the 60, it's more than 3 stories. So let's say every 10 is 1 story, which is almost 3 meters in my units. So it's around with the roof, depending on the roof, it's 5 probably to 6 if it's a flat roof.
Right, but the idea is what's in this area is really houses that wouldn't, buildings that wouldn't necessarily be all flat roofs. Because if you look at you look at the district and you look at the areas that they're in, I think I would assume that that's going to be a requirement that you have a roof line that matches the roof line of the other surrounding homes, and that's why we went up higher on this one, so that you could get a full 3 stories, if not, depending on where it is, possibly a 4-story building somewhere in the high density area. That is, by the way, the same thing that was already set in the central business district was 60. So the thought that I had when we were talking about is make the high density kind of be the same height as the CBD so just because you turn the corner and go 2 blocks down State Street, all of a sudden you can't have a building that to me, that's all still the same area, in a sense. So as far as from a housing standpoint, a building standpoint,
You could have a scenario of a single dwelling house, and then somebody next door builds a 60-foot high house 8 feet from the fence.
actually, we do have that scenario in a couple of places, but if it went back, it would and for some reason this isn't shown. I think it used to be at 50. So that whole area, if we look to medium density, the height there is
45.
Yeah, it's 45. But I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. Do we want to bring that down a little bit, or is that really a major concern, or would the DRB kind of handle that? Or what we're saying is that you could have up to that. I'm thinking like if you had a peaked roof house, and if you have a larger footprint of the building, then that's going to be a much taller part of the roof line. Because the more wide you go, the taller you got to have for the height to the peak of the roof. If it's a flat roof building, that would be different.
So medium density, let's look to what we have.
Okay.
Just turn this layer off. Oh, so it should show both the metric and 17 foot. This one is 17, 20, 22, 16, and this is random, I'm just trying 16, 19.
This is in medium density, right?
Right, yeah, we're looking into the medium density, right?
I thought we were on high now.
No, we're at the high density, Holly, was the question.
Yeah, but we moved again I thought we moved back to the medium density to look. Okay,
I'm just saying the medium density we had at, I believe that's now 45 feet. And we were talking about the high density, since it's basically the high density is adjacent to the central business district. That the maximum height would be the same as the buildings in the central business district.
Mm-hmm. So it's 36 here, 28, 25, 28. But, you know, we're allowing multifamily as permitted uses, and like the minimum height for the three multifamily, if it's within the same building, should be 35 to 40. So we're within, depending on the roof. What we're proposing actually makes sense. So it's almost 3 stories with the roof. Okay, so this is for multifamily. Multifamily is 3 families, 3 stories. Let's say if each family has 1 story.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to the multifamily. Okay, you want
Yeah,
to increase that?
That's kind of what I was looking at too. In fact, the properties that I was looking at were, many of them were more units. They're like 4 units to 6 units. So there'd be 2 units per floor. And if they didn't have a flat roof, then the roof line would, the peak of that would fairly easily hit to that 60 or very close to it.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think this is really like a standard that anyone's going to realistically run up against, because when you start talking about 4 floors or above, you're talking elevators, you're talking sprinklers, you're talking fitting all of the parking for those multiple units on what are very small lots in the high density area. So I find it kind of hard to believe that that's going to make a material difference to anyone either way. The 60-foot limit, I mean, to give room for the peaked roofs and stuff like that, I think you would want it to be, I don't know, at least 40, maybe 45. But beyond that, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference in high density. I could maybe see on Main Street, like central business, it making a difference, and maybe wanting higher height there. But
All right, well, let's make a decision. Do we want to make a change on that to lower it down?
to be clear, I say leave it. I don't think it really makes a difference.
I don't think it's a hill we should die on either.
No.
Because we've got the maximum structure coverage in there, and here we're taking out minimum lot size per unit, and then we've got the maximum structure coverage. I'm not sure that wouldn't be. Jason, what do you think about that? Would that cause problems in the high density area? Just because I look at the setbacks and then I say we've got the structure coverage of 50%. That doesn't seem, does it work? It doesn't seem to work.
You know, the math doesn't quite work on a couple things. So
Yeah.
I like the 5,000 minimum lot size. I like the reduction. That works for me. The frontage of 75 feet means that the lot is wider than it's deep. I don't love that. I think the frontage should be 50 feet. Then it's 50 by 100. That makes a lot more dimensional sense.
Yep.
And then I don't. Then if you account for the setbacks, that's less than 50%. So again, the math is just a little bit off. So I don't know that it makes sense to have a coverage that's bigger than you really can build based on the setbacks. So either you adjust the structure coverage or you adjust the setbacks accordingly.
Or if we remove the structure coverage, the setbacks will control it anyway.
That's right.
I'm of getting rid of the minimum lot size per family and get rid of the maximum structure coverage. And let the setbacks do what they're supposed to, because that's what keeps the conforming to the neighborhood make more sense, right? Holly, what do you think?
It stops boundary disputes also.
I think we discussed this multiple times, and we decided on these dimensional standards based on deep analysis and a lot of other discussions. I'm fine with reducing the minimum frontage, but with the other setbacks, I think we're going with the minimum. So if the side is only 8, it's barely a space for a car. Okay, so the front should be 15, yes, if not more. I think we're good enough. If we reduce it more, we will start to have other, health issues, more parking issues, probably.
Yeah. That's true too. Let's first take them one by one. If the minimum frontage, if we went to 50 feet as the minimum, so you'd have a 50 wide, 100 deep lot. That seems to make sense to me. Let's just step down one by one and see if we can get this figured out. Is everybody okay with doing that change?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so because I agree, let's change that, because now that makes more sense. That's more of what kind of lots we have. At that point, I guess the maximum structure coverage being set the way it is means that you'd have, unless I'm reading this wrong, it means you'd have a 2,500 square foot house on this smallest lot size. That sound right?
So if you can see my screen, this was the result of the analysis, but we cannot go like this, right? So many setbacks, 0 to 5, coverage frequently exceeded 40. Now we have it 50. This is the high density, right? The nonconformity is 76.2%. We're discussing that. Because I got lost. Yes, the high density.
So what numbers would you like to see there, Holly?
I'll just compare both. Let's have a look to the analysis, but provided as it did. The analysis suggested 4,000 square foot for the minimum lot size. We have it 5,000. The front setback from 5 to 10, we have it 15. And for the others, 5 and 10, we have it 8 and 15. This is what we have actually in the district. This is what we try to bring the dimensions into.
Well,
I think this is very low. This is really very low. Okay. Unless we propose 2 dimensional standards, one for the existing properties and one for any new construction on a vacant lot. And we propose something that works. But that would, yeah, Harry, I agree. Does not make sense.
So what do you recommend?
Do we need an answer today? Yes. To me, this needs, well, just as I'm catching up, that if you've got a street of 50, 70-year-old houses or more, single residents, and then maybe 1,000 or 1,200 square foot, and then somebody comes in and builds a 3-story multi-family dwelling 8 feet from your fence, you're going to see no sunlight ever from one direction. I think what you'll get is people, if I lived next door to that, I would come and sit here every meeting and object if I could. But then I would move.
But do
And
you
you're
really,
going to lose that row of maybe very, very historic or just very nice livable houses. And it's, you're going to have these apartment blocks moving in one by one.
I don't know that
It's
you,
10 feet right now. We're going to 8. It's not that radical of a change.
yeah, we're not changing it very much. And also remember, this is high density,
Mhm.
which is the intention. What you're describing is not a place that you would buy a house in.
Right. But do you
Because
have,
of the fact that the houses, by the nature of high densities, they are right next to each other. And the neighborhoods that we're looking at is just, most of it. I mean, actually, to be honest, most of it, I don't even know that what we have for buildable area in high density as much as that we have for making this change so that somebody could convert an existing property, an existing large home into like a 3-unit, 2-unit, 4-unit property, not necessarily build another house, but be permitted that they could change their existing house. That's why I always saying, if you could have 2 standards, you could go ahead and say, this is the standard that applies to existing and wanting to be renovated. Another standard saying that this would apply for building new. But I mean, I'd have to look at the high density map again, but if I remember correctly, there's really buildable lots there. I don't know that there's hardly anything at all in the whole high density area. Do you have that up, Harry? The map with the showing the high density?
Do I have the map up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share that? So everybody can,
I don't know. Does Hallie have the? Oh, I mean, I can do it too. Yeah.
just so we can see with the high density area, what we're specifically talking about.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So the dark orange right here. I mean, no, there aren't a ton of infill lots, to be clear. Since we kind of seem stuck in this conversation, I'll just offer that I kind of like the idea of just getting rid of structure coverage and letting setbacks do their work. I mean, I'm not going to be too chicken little about, you know, the actual prospects that someone's going to come in and build a, you know, giant monolith in Windsor. I mean, on a very small lot.
Right.
but they could.
They have to go through DRB for that too, though. I mean, you still have to maintain the character of the neighborhood.
So what we could follow the analysis recommendations of having it 60% instead of 50.
I'd support that too.
Yeah, but you know, the numbers don't support that. The numbers
Right.
support 47.6%. If you really want to be precise.
Oh, because then you go into the setback?
Right. If you account for the setbacks, yeah, you can't build 50%.
Then really just get rid of it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the setbacks are going to determine it. I mean, that the area that we're talking about is there are just so few potentials. I mean, I guess your other worst case scenario would be somebody buys 2 houses and 2 lots next to each other and bulldozes them all down, come back and then puts it together and then decides to put another building up in its place. But I don't know if we'd do that because it'd be insane. They'd lose almost all the money they're doing, but it's a potential. I mean, people have done dumb things before, but I think we have a developer review board that's supposed to say, not so fast. Especially since almost everything in that area is fairly old residential properties in a high density area. So I think there'd be a lot of opposition and certainly some historical things that would have to be taken into account. But let's just try to figure out how we're not going to cover every scenario. I think that we got to get rid of the minimum lot size per family unit. We already know that because that's causing us trouble no matter where we are dealing with this. The question is if somebody has a larger lot, I mean, how do we handle that? Because the numbers could work if you have a 6,000 or 7,000 square foot lot. And that's where it becomes tricky.
Exactly. If they have a big lot, then they can use the whole, that, you know, even the setbacks are not so big, so they can take advantage of that.
And in a sense, though, that is really what they're, part of the housing law is trying to do is to say maximize the space for housing, but we don't want to lose the character of the neighborhood at the same time.
So you can subdivide, or the question is, can you subdivide a lot, providing you don't go below these numbers?
The lot would have to be at least 5,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And maximum density, and I don't even know if we have one 10,000 square foot lot anywhere in it.
I bet there is somewhere.
Well, yeah, there could be some big ones,
I imagine there's some opportunity.
but they're not empty.
Right.
They got houses sitting on them. So
Probably true.
the proposition would be to tear the house down to build something to put 2 more units that you could squeeze into it.
Yep.
And, some people, I mean, it doesn't make any financial sense, and no developer on the planet would ever do it. If you're building a multi-family, you're doing it as a development, you're doing it to make money. So I don't know that there's a really good solution one way or the other to that. We need to make a decision now.
I think we should keep it, but if you want to increase it, just increase it, because we removed how many family units could be included there based on the area.
So you're saying get rid of the minimum lot size per family unit, and according to Jason, it should really be like 45% because then the math works.
Well, that only applies if you're at the absolute minimum lot size.
That's right.
Exactly. But for example, this is in the high density. This is in the high density. This is in the high density. This one as well. So
What sizes are they though? What lot
This-
sizes do you think those are?
Oh,
Pointing out.
this is the lot size.
We can't read it.
It's 0.4 of an acre.
0.43 an acre. This is 0.33 an acre. This one is 4.41 acres. This one 0.5 acres. And you have lots like this one 0.11, 0.11 acre.
Right.
This one it's I'm not sure if this is let me just double check. Yeah, it's the high density. This one is 1.63. So we have different sizes for the lots.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually a critical thing. We don't have any issue if the lot is small, but if it's big like this one and they don't have any control, they just need to leave like how much did we say? 8 foot and 15 foot. And that means that they will use the whole land. So this is what the law actually, the bylaw allows. That's the value of the maximum coverage.
Okay. I see that.
Okay, for example, would you like to keep it for 50 or keep it as 40 or increase it to 60 based on the analysis?
Um,
I think 50 works well, you know.
yeah, I say we go ahead and change the frontage to 50 feet, leave it at 50%. If we find that when we finish doing the town plan, that there may be some concerns about this that are justifiably, that it's a realistic thing that we need to really address, then we can readdress again, because we will be more than likely visiting the zoning after the town plan to make any tweaks we need to make according to, once we finish the plan. How does everybody feel about that?
Sure.
Works for- I'll abstain from this one. I guess,
Because it's not much different than where we are.
well, there's that, I guess, from day one. You know,
So-
let's say if it's all businesses, then it's fine, but just see this. Maybe I've moved up from Houston, and when in an old historic neighborhood there, and the lot values became significant, and suddenly you had subdivision. The generous lot size was 50 foot wide, and then people were coming in and bulldozing a lovely old craftsman house and building two houses on it with sort of maybe 18 inches between them. You know, and when it first happened, it kind of looked awful, but then people moved out, and then you had a whole street of this, and say like the Louisiana row houses, you know, kind of, and it can look quite quaint or nice, but you got that transition, and it causes people, I think, to move out, find a different home. If it already affects the streets that already have this sort of 60-foot property, you know, it's not so hard for residents, but it is going to cause people to get upset, I would imagine.
I understand that argument entirely. And I'm very familiar with the neighborhoods you're talking about in the lawns. But from a practical standpoint, I don't, you would have to have a real significant increase, plus, you know, you would have, I don't see that in a town like Windsor being any kind of a practicality that somebody would spend the money to do that. But I think at some point we have to make, I mean, we're very close to where we used to be. And we've only made some small changes here that bring all the other lots into being more conforming. And I think that's what makes the most sense at this point. I mean, let's finish. Brendan, what is your thought?
I was nodding my head yes earlier, so that was my thought, but I guess you can't see me, so.
Didn't quite catch that. And Harry, you're okay with the change to where we are? What we're talking about?
You're still talking about structure coverage?
The whole thing being changed to where we're let's be concise, minimum lot size per family unit struck, gone.
Yep.
Minimum footage, 75 down to 50.
Yep.
Setbacks to be what they have been changed to,
Yes.
which is the 15, 8, 15. Maximum roof height, we decided really wasn't, it's a potential issue, but not a practicality that much. And maximum structure coverage at, we talked about going to 45% so that it worked for the minimum sizes. So to fit inside of 5,000. If that's what our standard is a minimum lot size of 5,000, then the maximum structure coverage should be functional to that. So that would be at 45% now.
Sure.
And that's what we're talking about. All right, one more time. Everybody good with that? Mike?
Yeah, I'm good with that, yeah.
Okay, I'm good with it. James? Okay, vote against it. We didn't even miss one.
Has the 60-foot been in force since the 2001 first issue of this document? It's shown 60-foot here and it's first issued. So we haven't got the track changes in the 2023.
Just when this document, we found that there were a few things that somehow had gotten edited along the way that had changed.
I think my view is if it's already 60 from the last time this was issued, then I guess it hasn't been.
And that is true for sure, yeah. We didn't change the.
I don't think we changed that, yeah.
And you haven't had.
Because that just follows along with the central business district, the building height sizes. So if you look, say up State Street or one of the others from there, then you'd be seeing, but you don't, because nobody's building that high. You'd really have to have a multifamily, which you have only a couple of them that hit really close to that up by the school on State Street. Other than that, I don't know that there's anything else existing that's there, but this would make sure that everything stays conforming.
For what it's worth, the 60-foot height was in the 2007 zoning. It hasn't changed since then, at least.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
For better or for bad.
So nobody's been knocking the door down to argue.
No
against
fire,
it.
no pitchforks, no lights,
Yeah.
nothing's come out yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and Hallie, take us to the CBD.
Okay, but before we move on, I just removed these two this comment that has to do with the minimum lot size per family unit, and this not, I don't know, do you like to keep it or shall I remove it? Where an existing lot does not meet the minimum lot size, the number of dwelling units shall not be increased beyond existing lawful conditions unless dimensional compliance is achieved.
Really, we have to remove.
We have to remove
Because
that.
we're getting rid of family units.
Yeah.
Yeah, I removed the per family unit and I removed the second one. The minimum lot size per family unit shall apply only to 2 family and multi-family dwellings. We removed that. The standards shall not apply to single family dwelling. So it does not make sense to keep it.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. No,
I don't know that. I mean, I raised this in my written comments, but I don't know that provision should be left in there.
this is the document that we were working on. It's not the document that you edited. So shall I remove this one? Do you suggest removing it? The first
Well,
comment?
my comment, because I know people probably, not everyone read that, what I submitted, but that language would stop an existing single family house from being divided into a multifamily. And I don't know if that's Home Act compliant, but I also don't think that's something we should be standing in the way of necessarily. I see there's stunned silence.
Yeah.
Did they freeze?
Well, I don't think
I
so.
think they did freeze.
They did?
Yeah, it looks frozen to me.
All right, but it's made sense when we had the minimum lot size per family unit, but now it doesn't. So I'm with the idea of removing it.
Nope.
We lost them. I hope they don't claim the meeting. They come back. Okay. Good thing that I have the recording on.
I wonder if the laptop died in there.
Maybe. Do we still have people in the room there? There was 2 members of the public.
Oh, were there?
Yeah,
At the beginning, yeah. If they're still kicking around, I'm
yeah,
blown away. They've been there for 2 hours.
right.
Were they there to talk about the prison?
About the
Yes.
regulations. And one of them, yeah, he brought the prison property comment. But there are public hearings to collect the public feedback on the regulations, and the planning commission meetings are not actually the right meeting to get that.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, don't know if I have Cliff's phone number or anything.
and I don't think I do.
I've got Mike's. I don't know if he will hear me or not. Let me see.
I'll just send them an email.
I mean, they definitely would have noticed that we're not there by now. But
Yeah. Did you send them an email? Brendan, did you call anyone?
Yeah, I'm trying to call Mike right now. He's not
Okay.
picking up, though. There we go. Maybe.
They're back. No.
it's really windy out here, so it wouldn't surprise me if
No wonder they lost power. Down there.
actually somebody in a group chat I'm in said that they lost their internet the other day from a tree branch falling right in town.
Yeah, I got nothing when I tried to call him, so I don't know what's up.
Did I try calling the town office?
I don't think they will respond. They don't have a phone there. So I'm trying to send an email to Jason and Cliff.
There we go. Nope.
All right.
Oh, there they are.
Oh, okay.
Thank God.
I don't know how to take that, Harry. The computer decided it wanted to do a Windows update. So it shut itself down and did what it felt like. So we're back. And we're about to start on table 2.6 into business.
Okay. You can just adjust the zoom to have you all move the camera a little bit.
I'm not doing anything. It's doing something on its own.
Here we are.
Okay.
Yeah. So Okay. So we remove these two comments. This is the last thing we discussed. Now we move to the central business district and for the temporary shelter.
And it's,
Why do we need a permit for any temporary shelter? If someone wants to have a small tent for his kids to play in or
Is
for
that talking about a homeless shelter?
farming purposes or what's the definition of temporary shelter?
yeah, I was curious about that too. I mean, because sometimes if somebody's, and again, in CBD, I don't see it happening. I mean, if it's in a rural area and you're going to build a house and you want to put a mobile home on it until you finish your house, then that to me would be temporary shelter. But in the central business district, what does that mean? Because Harry jumped to thinking it's a homeless shelter. That's
It is a homeless shelter. I'm looking at our definitions right now.
Yeah. Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Page 112, any facility the primary purpose of which is to provide a temporary shelter for the homeless in general or for specific populations of the homeless and does not require occupants to sign leases or occupancy agreements. And that is something that's protected under state law. So
Right. Okay. So that is a homeless shelter. I wish it was more clear about that. And that is allowed under a conditional use. The question is should that be a permitted use? I mean, I don't know what from the state law standpoint about confirming. Jason.
So there's the term used in state statute is emergency shelter, and that is one of the multiple classifications of uses that are limited under zoning. So it probably is better put in that section wherever that is in your zoning bylaws. But nonetheless, yeah, you need to allow for.
Okay. Would it make sense to put temporary / emergency?
It would be clearer to use the statutory term,
I would
say.
prefer to do that because I didn't understand that at all. Anybody else okay with that?
We're changing to match.
Temporary shelter should be
Well,
emergency shelter.
Temporary to emergency shelter is much more descriptive.
Yes.
And that it falls on the conditional use makes a lot of sense because I think there's it should go through some sort of a process with that for everybody to know in the central business district where we're putting that. I think it's important too. Not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it should go through the normal permitting process for the conditional side.
what is your interpretation of 4413, Jason? Because I don't know if we can have it as a conditional use based on that.
You know, it's unclear to me, but I know that hospitals and other things sometimes are conditional uses. So I don't know that you really can limit where it happens. I think it's more a matter of you review it for other things. But I don't see a harm in listing it because it is a required thing now in state law. So,
But should it be conditional or should it be permitted?
I'm a little uncertain, to be honest with you. I don't know. It makes better sense as conditional. We can somebody could ask VLCT or some other lawyer for an opinion on that matter. I'm not up to speed on it.
I'll say I don't know that this language, you can all look at it. It's 24 VSA 4413 right at the top there, but I don't read this as meaning that we have to allow it as permitted, but the list of things that may be regulated. So the following uses may only be regulated only with respect to, and then it lists a bunch of things: location, size, height, building bulk, yards, courts, setbacks, density, off-street parking, loading facilities, traffic noise, lighting, landscaping, and screening. A lot of those things are things that can be done through site plan rather than conditional use.
Okay.
So I don't know, that might be a more appropriate option, but I don't see that as meaning that it has to be permitted. as of right.
I think that's right, but I'm just not totally certain.
Me neither.
Well, let's go ahead and just change it from temporary to emergency and then leave it as item 15 under the conditional use. And if we get some further information, this has to go and pass muster beyond, it doesn't get reviewed by the state? Or who's
Not really.
Not really, no.
No.
You submit it, but they just file it really. They don't really review it.
Oh, they put it in that big room that's actually a giant shredder and they just.
Well,
They refuse, they
What you do is
refuse.
you upload it onto a website and there it sits forever until you update it
And
again.
that's great. So until you get sued or somebody sues you, nobody pays any attention to it.
Right, right. But it's relatively straightforward to ask the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, hey, is this okay to do? And so that's something that could happen.
Ali, do you mind following up with that to see what that could be?
Yeah, okay.
Just so we're sure, because we don't need any more legal fees. All
There
right,
may
so
already be some written guidance out there about that.
come on, yeah. Okay, so going through this before, and the changes here are not very big at all. We just went from 5,000 to 4,000 for minimum lot size. We've already we've got minimum lot size per family unit. We're going to get rid of everywhere, right? And we didn't change any of these setbacks. The class one description unless. So.
The minimum lot size per family unit, would it really be, in this case, just per unit? Because you might have.
We're not going to have it at all.
Okay.
So under class one, the second line there, the minimum lot size per family unit shall apply only to, that should be struck.
Okay. Jason, you had a comment here.
I did.
No site plan for 3 to 4 unit dwellings. That was in November 14, 2025. So let's just probably you don't remember exactly what was it.
Well, no, I do. My comment back then and still is that state law requires sort of like two classifications, if you will, of multifamily dwellings. So 3 to 4 unit dwellings cannot go through site plan review where there's water and sewer. Above that, they certainly can. So I just want to point that out. So what we're saying here right now is all multifamily dwellings go through site plan review. You can't do that for 3 and 4 unit dwellings. They have to be permitted use.
Most of the uses in the central business district require site plan review. Only few that doesn't. But
Just to be in accordance with the Home Act, where there's water and sewer, 3 to 4 unit dwellings need to be permitted use.
okay. So shall we add it as the note or?
However you want to do it, but that would be the case in central business district, high density residential, and part of medium density residential.
I mean, you could just add three to 4 unit dwelling as a use, I guess, but
Right. That's what some towns do, but whatever works.
In the 3 to 4 family, we put under conditional use.
No, 3 to 4 unit dwelling would be under permitted use.
Permitted use, and anything above that would be conditional. Would that be?
It could be conditional or it could be site plan review. probably site plan review would be the better way to do it. Whatever works.
Okay.
Okay.
So we kept the multifamily dwelling as with a site plan review and we added
Yeah.
this.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And this one, let's delete it. And I'll just accept the change so that, you know, I'll worry again about the format. Okay. Now, the village mixed use district.
One question on the central business. We've got 0 feet for the front setback. Do we have that if
That's what they almost all are.
there's no sidewalk?
Oh, there are sidewalks. So the setback is, I see what you're saying. It is from the edge of the sidewalk. There is no building that's right on the curb.
Right.
Are you concerned that somebody could build something that would be right on the curb
Yeah.
and remove the sidewalk?
I guess the question,
You have to remove the sidewalk.
if the sidewalk, well, they can't touch the sidewalk, I assume. But from a 0 foot, it's not from the road.
From the highway right of way.
And the sidewalk,
Presumably the sidewalk is within the right of way, but
right.
that might not always be the case.
Yes.
But I think that's the assumption. In here somewhere, it talks about how you measure setbacks and that sort of things.
Right. So especially if it already exists, then you know it wouldn't be an issue then.
Mhm.
Okay. Just wouldn't like to see the building going up right on the road. It would make-
Well, up above, where it also clarifies that traditional downtown manner maintains and enhances the area's historic character and economic viability. So it's talking about there that it's, it has to fit in the character. And there's a lot more. I mean, the development review board would be involved in pretty much anything that's in the CBD. So, and the historic review would happen there too, because the entire thing is an historic district.
Right.
So for the downtown, I don't know that issue could really, I mean, it's potential, but it's not that much of a practical, because there's no way anybody in the historic district allows you to build a property that blocks the sidewalk and you'd have to walk around the street to go past it. But it's an interesting point. Technically, it says you could, but in reality, I don't think it could happen. Never get past all the other reviews that would have to happen to approve it. So the other changes that we made is we reduced the minimum lot size to 1,000 square feet, and the maximum lot size per family unit we should remove if we're going to stay consistent, and I like consistency. Minimum road frontage was 50 feet. All of this is the stuff we had before. I think we've been through this a few times. I don't know that there's any other changes that anybody wanted to make in there, or does anybody have any suggestions, or are we good with the CBD as far as that's concerned? I'll start with Brendan this time.
We're on mixed use, right, village, or no? Or are we still in CBD?
Oh, wait.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure we're still.
The question was brought up for the CBD.
Okay.
Did we finalize that? I don't remember if we did.
I just want to make sure we're right, yeah, sorry.
I think you're right. I think we're ready to move on to mixed village, but we are all agreed that everything's fine with the CBD. Is there any other changes? Got caught because of the temporary shelter.
Oh, yeah.
That's what brought us back up.
No problem.
Other than changing that to shelter and then doing some research to find out about what we need to do there, I think that's all we needed to change there. So let's move to the village mixed use.
So can you just define what a village is? As in Windsor town.
Village mixed use is down by like Jarvis Street. Pull up the map.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Thank you.
You want me to stop sharing or should I open the map?
If you have the map handy, that's fine, but
Mm.
it's everything in purple.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
So let's move back. Do you have any comments on the use table? We have now the multifamily, single family, and two family as permitted uses. Even the multifamily does not need site plan review here. So
I think that makes sense. I think we need to, again, remove the minimum lot size per family unit.
this one. Okay, and for the other use standards, let me just check what the analysis actually provided. Low density, process. Okay. So based on the analysis, it proposed 3,000 square foot. But we have it, we reduced it from 5 to 4. Minimum frontage, it was 50. We have it now 40. It was proposed at 35. And we reduced the, so, I couldn't follow all the recommendations because for the front setback 0 to 5 and the side setback 5, the rears reduced from 20 to 10. So I tried to provide some space around the properties, like from 10 to 8 and from 50 to 40.
You know, we may want to revisit this when we do the town plan because I find the things that are glommed together in this district kind of weird. I mean, we have giant industrial parcels, and then we also have like workers' cottages that are some of like the densest housing in town. And that makes it hard to do anything consistently across those two.
I agree. You brought that up before I did. I was going to say this whole list doesn't make any, it just doesn't add up.
Because I would love, per the analysis, I would love to see, you know, less things, less nonconformity, and, you know, things like down on Jarvis and National Street and all that, not have to pull permits for silly things and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't know, there is some redevelopment potential down there once you get outside of the floodway.
Well, I was going to bring this. They already have an issue. It's not a non-conformity issue. It's a flood issue. So,
well, it's all in the floodplain. Only some of it's in the floodway. So
it's
some of it, you know, if you do elevations, you can actually build stuff down there. But I don't. I think it's weird to try to treat the giant brownfield industrial parcels the same way we treat the, like residential area down there. So, and everyone knows my feelings about design review, and I feel like it's pretty overregulated down in that area as it is. So, but that's something to address another time. For now, I feel like I like the changes that we've proposed.
I agree, because I mean, some of these things, when we're doing a town plan, this is a great opportunity to have discussions in the public side of things, to talk about from the vision side, what would you like to see in these particular areas that we're talking about, and what makes sense to have there and not have there. I think it's a really good time to revisit all of these, because some of them really don't make a lot of sense. Some of them do, but some of them don't. But doing it this way now brings us to, we're conforming again with the state regulations the way we should. So now the supplemental district standard, well, I won't jump ahead. Is everybody okay with the dimensions that we're looking at now? Or we're going to remove the minimum lot size per family unit, because we discussed doing that everywhere. We have the maximum structure coverage at 75%, which I don't know that that's going to add up back again with the minimum and the setbacks. Because we've got frontage at 4,000 square foot lot. That would be like 80 feet deep? No, I don't think it's that deep.
Big lot, really. Think of what's already there.
So it's 40 by 100
It's 40 by 100. Okay.
with this change, yeah.
Pretty good sized lot.
How deep are they at the moment?
Currently, you're not going to get any of the current properties down by the Jarvis Street, Acme Street area to conform to any of this, because they're right next to each other and the lot sizes are wacky. A lot of them are wider than they are deep. And the depth of them are like 30 or 40 feet or so. I mean, you look at some of the little small houses that are side by side down there, the depth of those lots probably 50 feet, maybe, and about 30 feet wide to 40 feet wide. I mean, some of them are tiny down there. And we're trying to get away from that. I mean, it's really a bad idea to have housing stacked on top of each other like they are down there.
But they're kind of cute.
Yeah, so one on the end catches fire, and depending on which way the wind blows, so then they're not cute, they're gone.
So in a scenario there, if a house got burnt down, for example, and they wanted to rebuild, would they have to follow this, or would they be grandfathered in with the square footage?
They
of
would
the house?
no longer be grandfathered in, and the factor of that is going to be the flood zone. They have to come up with a flood remediation plan that would fit inside the lot size that they have. So they couldn't have a basement, they couldn't have any of those. It has to be elevated. And I mean, right now the elevation isn't too bad. National Street, the elevation is like around a foot or so. You have to be changed. So I mean, and I agree. I think these are issues that need to really, we need some time and thought on, and I think we need to put that thought into the town plan side to decide really what makes sense for this. Because as of right now, that's the only village area that we have currently is the one that's down there, right, Hallie?
Yeah.
And there's a proposal that we may have a second one, but we'll have to see.
It just being called village district does not relate to village in the sense of the future land use map. I think it's important to clarify that. It's just a name here.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole downtown center is like.
Is that considered?
So, I think a couple of you have said, maybe pause on this one, do the town plan and come back to it. I think that makes perfect sense. Somewhere like 20, 25 years ago, there was this Rails to Riverfront study,
Right,
which was
have that.
where it came from.
Yeah.
And there's some fairly grandiose ideas about what was going to happen down there. And I think it's
Yes.
time to revisit the whole concept. And I think the town plan is a good place to do that.
So it's kind of best to just this doesn't hurt us as far as conforming to the state 181. So it's just the best to just, let's defer.
I think so. And I think when you're in the town plan, let's really rethink this part of town.
Yeah.
What makes
Yeah, as
sense.
a matter of fact, I think that'll be something that maybe we'll even do as a partial survey kind of thing and get out there and get some ideas from the public too. And have them look at it. So at this point, I guess the best term is we'll make the changes that you have shown here. Or do we even want to bother with that? Changing the minimum lot size per family unit.
For what it's worth, I think that's good to make those changes. I think a lot of the supplemental district standards should get changed, but maybe not yet. So I think that's where you could just.
Okay, so let's go ahead and make the changes that we are showing, that we're changing the minimum lot size per unit, minimum frontage to 40, minimum front setback to 8, side setback to 8, and rear setback to 10. Maximum height makes no sense in there, but we'll deal with it. 60 foot it's not, I don't really see it, but it goes back to the industrial side. You could see it there, and that's where you wouldn't have a district that would be all this hodgepodge. So we're going to change that, but there's no reason to worry about that right now, because in the next year, I don't think we're going to deal with it.
The only commentary I'll make on that is, maybe Central Street, in theory, it makes some sense because the flood height there is like 12 feet in the air. So if you have to raise up structures, it's good to have a little extra height allowance.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be my one commentary.
I just know, but does Central Street really fall into this,
I think so.
or is it still in the Central Business District?
Good question. I could be wrong about
I
that.
think
It is still in the Central Business District, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
All right.
CBD goes to the rail line, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Then I found out I was mistaken.
So most
Okay.
of the properties here are non-conforming. Yeah,
Wow, I
according
know.
to the analysis, it's 90.6%. The median setback is around 3 foot. And we reduced it up to 8. The maximum coverage, we can increase it to 85% if you want. But we cannot do the side for 5 or keep the front to 0.
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So shall I do this according to the analysis and make it 85?
Sure.
That helps, sure. And just get rid of the minimum lot size and go to 85. Another should, and all the other that we talked about.
Okay. You had a lot of comments on the supplement district standards.
Yeah, we've talked this to death before. I think they're all crazy. I think I maybe talked some people into agreeing with me last time, but I also don't care if we deal with it this time around or wait.
I think we agreed to move them somewhere, section 5 2D.
Yes, we talked about moving them down out of here,
Okay.
but regardless, they need a lot of it. I
But-
think that's a town plan guide.
My understanding that they are related to this specific district.
I mean, I'm okay with leaving them there, but I don't. I mean, they need a lot of work, and I think the town plan's going to drive those.
Okay. Then we'll keep them.
For the record, I think we can get rid of literally all of them, but that's just me. I understand that everybody's not with me on that, and we'll leave it for another day.
I don't know. but you brought it up. Let's put it to a test here. Should we keep this? Should it stay or should it go?
I mean,
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't know that we need to decide right now, but I lean towards Harry's opinion on it for sure.
I don't want to make us stay any later than we're already staying right now.
I agree.
okay,
But we do
keep
have
that
other
in
things to get into, so I agree.
roadside businesses. Okay. Okay, we added the multifamily dwelling here and we kept the accessory dwelling as permitted. And
Just
these
give
are
me
the
protection. Business.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it for now. Deal with it later.
later.
Which one are you on? You're on the roadside business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we went through this fairly extensively a couple of months ago. And I think the only thing that's gotta go is minimum lot size per family unit.
Yeah.
And we've already kind of went around and around on this a couple of times, so I think what we came up with, unless you see any other reasons to change things, Holly, I think we're okay with that. Anybody have any other concerns on that?
Nope.
Industrial district.
And industrial. So the other day, I had a request from an investor who had like 3 lots in this area, and they were thinking of proposing a mobile home park. It's not allowed in the district, and the town is not with the idea of adding new mobile homes. However, we have the PUD that is allowed in all districts, regardless if it's listed here or not, but it's allowed in all districts. I was wondering if we need to add the PUD in all uses as a conditional use, just to list it here somewhere.
In the industrial district, right?
Yeah.
And you're specifically talking about the proposal down by Miller Construction.
Right.
And if we put it in, yeah, because there's no reference to that at all.
Yeah, but you know, if you go to the section for the plant unit development, it's allowed in all districts. Exactly like the mobile home. The mobile home is allowed in all districts with certain requirements. But
State statute does require that towns accommodate mobile home parks somewhere in
we
town.
we have
do.
town, we do.
You already
We
have
have
a big,
park.
just can't see it.
And although it's on the river, but for their properties, but it's not within the floodplain.
Right.
So these are their properties. Actually, it's one of the best lots we have. This one and this one, I think, here. This one, this, and here. So it's not within the floodplain, and it could be a good, you know, opportunity to increase the housing stock.
I think it's a hot potato. I'm not exactly sure how we should approach that. I mean, they're not on town water and sewer. It doesn't quite make it there.
Yeah, but you know, the town can provide incentives for that purpose.
Chip would cover that.
Yeah, so my suggestion, if you're fine with it, just add the PUD in all districts for conditional use. Because it's already permitted by the bylaw.
I think that makes sense because it just puts it on the list here. I mean, it's down below, but, right.
Hallie, could you quickly explain? I have not looked closely at our mobile home regs versus PUD, and I'm looking at it now. What is the difference in treatment between a mobile home park? Are all mobile home parks treated as PUDs? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not, because I looked into that, and what I found that no, it's actually what decides, this how it's fixed on the ground. So the PUD is a planned, development, like the condos or the developments that happen. It's regular homes. It could be prefabricated homes, but not mobile.
I think one issue is that, unless I missed it, which I might have, PUDs allow residential if residential is allowed in the underlying district. And right now it's not allowed, I think. So I think that's just something to think about. And it makes me wonder, is that industrial district in that part of town really industrial?
That's what I was thinking too. That seems like that's.
But I thought that, but if you read here, it says clearly that planned unit development are permitted in all zoning districts to allow for innovative and flexible design and development.
Right, so in many
Probably-
industrial parks, that would be more like an industrial park or a commercial park. And they generally relate, unless it says so, allowing, residential in any district, it usually falls to whatever uses are allowed in that district. And so again, I'm just saying it might make some sense to rethink the map. And it might also make sense to rethink the uses in industrial.
We have discussed that before, actually, in regard to the industrial area at the north end of town, like the Artisans Park area, and potentially allowing residential in that area. I mean, there's no services, as you said, at the one at the south end of town, but I mean, I'm in support of it. I mean, I would, if you're saying there isn't already the language for this person to apply for a mobile home park under the current regs, then I say we make that explicit, that it is something that can be applied for.
So shall I add the multifamily dwelling or what? Mobile home park or what in the conditional use?
Well,
not
mobile
really.
home parks is its own use, right? I mean, it's not multifamily.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not, yeah.
I kind of struggle with it because, and again, this is me and my 2 cents, but true industrial uses and residential uses just have a natural conflict. They don't like each other, right? And so if you're allowing for homes to be built next to the plant or whatever, they don't, again, they don't like each other. The reality is that that kind of industrial activity isn't really happening. So I think it makes sense to rethink things. Right? I don't generally like to mix industrial and residential, but maybe it does make sense. But I still think it goes back to the map. And
I agree, and I think
there's only-
it goes back to the town plan when we talk about revisiting the maps in the town plan, because I think the other area that Terry's talking about up by industrial is right off of Route 5, not down in, Artisan Park, down in the area where, Harpoon and everything is. Someone's going to build a multifamily house down there. That to me it doesn't work. That should stay commercial industrial down there, because it would be less appealing for a company to come in and wants to do manufacturing that they know they have some kids running around there when semi trucks are going by.
Well, to Jason's point, that's all light industry. It's not like heavy industry, and it does have services. So, I mean, I think it's something worth exploring in the future. But I think the more immediate problem when we were talking about that the last time is that the town plan doesn't allow it.
Right, and we have to really get into that and adjust it. And I think again, in my mind, that means that maybe we kind of adjust where the line is for the northern industrial park to where it allows, make it more sensible next to the roadside. Roadside business district does allow for housing, so it would make more sense to push that into that area and take it out of industrial up on the northern side. I mean, this is a unique thing. The Miller property is a fairly large piece of land there. And, you know, they had an airstrip and they had all kinds of stuff that they were doing down there. And now they're doing nothing with it and they want to do something else. And that's encouraging. And they want to build housing, and that's encouraging. We also want to kind of maintain a certain character. I'm not sure, you know, I would rather see modular homes than they subdivide it and build it into lots and build a real true neighborhood down there. But, you know, I don't know that that's even something that we have a say in. But I think that's the kind of thing that we really need to address with the town plan. And it would put their project off for a year is what it means, potentially. So we could figure it out, but also give everybody some input as to what they think for doing that too.
Or encourage the development with a view that we're involved on the different groups and have it. Right. Drive it as a model almost of the way we want to go forward.
Right.
Because I agree with everything you're saying here, Jason. And mixing small residences within manufacturing, just on safety and, you know, with the kids especially. And then you could reduce the minimum lot size potentially as well, because that must be an impediment to some startup businesses if they've got to have a 40,000 square foot lot size. You know, especially if you can subdivide it in some way.
Yeah, I think we need to revisit this quite a bit. And I think this is one that we end up coming back to after the town plan. I don't want to make it to be too much of an impediment. I mean, according to what you're saying, though, they can, even though it's an industrial, Holly interprets it to where they could apply for a PUD in their area and then.
You know, I have a question now. From the way that Jason explained it, it seems to be not a use, but a design approach. Is this what you mean? So it follows the same uses in the district, but it's, you know, multiple units of the allowed uses?
That is my understanding of it as written, but I'm not fully up to speed on how you have written it or how it's been interpreted. But yeah, I think generally it's relaxing your typical standards so you can have more flexibility to do stuff as allowed in each district.
And maybe that's why it's not listed as a use anywhere. It's not a use, it's a design approach.
How does this, if we leave this the way we have it for now, how does this actually affect us as far as Act 181 side of things? It's out of 1B area, it's not, right?
No, in terms of the Home Act and 181, I think you're good without messing with that district.
And as it stands now, it'd be an Act 250 review to do what they're talking about, or would PUD avoid that and just be our review by the town?
You know, if they subdivided, if it was smaller than a certain number of units, you know, there's a couple of factors where they could not have to go through Act 250 potentially.
Well, then the water and sewer, they brought that down. It's almost there. It's only 4,000 feet away or so. So town water and sewer is very close to it. And then if they subdivided the lot sizes, then, I mean, the reality is it should be changed on the map. because it's no longer, it doesn't make sense. It's an industrial district.
Are we still talking about the Miller construction?
Yeah. But that's the, and the only reason we're really worried about it is because of the fact that they've approached us to do something. So we don't want to, you know, it's a sticky situation. If they hadn't approached us, then I'd say we're going to leave this until we finish the town plan and address that issue at that time.
This could be the South Windsor Village.
It sounds to me like you're receptive to the idea, just you want time to think it through and do it right.
Right, and I think we want to certainly have some feedback on that as to, you know, whether it's appropriate to, the mobile home units can be a, you know, a real good option for people who have very limited resources to be able to get housing that are on the lower end, and it helps with that side. Also, it could be a really nice neighborhood of modulars or regular built houses too. So it comes down to, you know, really what do we want to see down there, and how much right do we have to determine that, because we don't own the land. So we can determine it and how they subdivide it. And they don't have to subdivide it as a mobile home park. That's the whole point. It eliminates all of that.
So shall I keep the multifamily dwelling that Harry added?
Well, the multifamily dwellings actually even applies to mobile home, because it's not. A multifamily dwelling is a single building with more than one unit in it.
But I think it could allow or open the door for a PUD there, because the use is there and they can go for a PUD for different multifamily or two-family dwellings, like attached condos.
But does that open it up in the northern industrial park at the same time? That's my concern.
So what are you suggesting?
The problem is a mapping problem. Miller property no longer really belongs as an industrial district if they want to develop it for housing. It should be changed. And that resolves this. I think trying to adjust the industrial district according to making it possible doesn't make a lot of sense. And the regional map, is that something that we can address there? That would shorten the time frame.
Well, yeah, we don't have a lot of time, but I can certainly consider it.
Would anything in the regional plan prevent residential at I guess it would only matter in Act 250, right? But...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they can somehow not do Act 250, our plan wouldn't matter. If they had to go through Act 250 and it's not a substantial regional impact, they're really going to be looking to the town plan anyway. So our plan wouldn't really matter that much at that point either. So I don't know that our plan isn't a big stumbling block, but I don't recall what we got. I mean, look it up. It will come up. I'll look and see what we.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious we're not going to finish this tonight. So let's jump back into this, because we're going to have to do this in 2 weeks. And hopefully in that time frame, we're going to be able to blow right through whatever is left, because the rest of this.
So last decision, do you want to keep multifamily or remove it?
I want to remove it. I don't think it belongs in the industrial district, and I think we need to find another way to address it. Because I don't think mobile homes are multifamily. I think they're totally different.
I'm still in support of the concept for the northern industrial park. Yeah, I think the problem with it being the same district as the southern one, which has no services, is kind of a problem for trying to make that change. And yeah, I think it's something we can revisit after the town plan, and then maybe do some remapping to make a finer distinction between the northern and southern industrial areas. But honestly, in the short term, I would be okay. I would like to see mobile home park be added as a conditional use for, if not just for the specific proposal which someone is thinking about. I mean, it's still conditional use. It will still have to go through a tremendous amount of scrutiny. Don't underestimate that. And if they want to do more than 9 units, if they do 10 or above, it'll be Act 250 as well. So it's not, it's by no means like a as of right thing to put it into conditional use. It will still have to go through a lot.
Okay. Interesting thought. What's the consensus or non-consensus for that? I'll start with Brendan. Either way.
Sorry, I stepped out for a dinner break, so I just got back. So hope nothing pressing happened while I was gone. But I'm gonna cede my power to Harry. So whatever Harry says.
I don't need enough talk tonight.
Twice.
Well, just so you know, we were talking about tearing down some structures on Main Street and putting in a mobile park.
All right.
That'll light them up.
I guess
Okay.
I don't see a problem with listing it, so I guess what would the major downside be of listing it?
Right, and I think Harry's right there. There's a lot of other checks and balances that are in place.
But I have to be transparent and let you know that the town is not with the idea of developing mobile home. They are more with the idea of having PUDs, residential units that are permanent, because for maintenance purposes and living quality, it's much better than mobile home parks.
Here's the thing about PUDs. No one ever uses them. I mean,
I lived in Essex in condos, and it was very good quality, very nice neighborhood. It was well serviced. The dark side of the PUD, if the developer does not do a good property management and maintain it well on the long term. So from what I've seen that most of the towns that, or the cities, let's say, that allow these kinds of development, they put strict conditions on the developer to control the quality they provide to that development, quality of services, and they keep a good property management or district management at all times. It's not the case for small towns, and they don't have these regulations or control procedures, but we could have that if we are planning to have such type of housing.
okay, I mean, it seems like our PUD clause already allows PUDs in any district anyway, though. So, I mean, if someone wanted to do that, that's
Yeah, but
also
apparently, exactly, it's what Jason is talking about. It's not a use in a district. It's a design approach where you can design like without subdivision or with a subdivision like the mobile homes. You have more than one unit with, you will build the roads, you
Does that
will
mean if we
provide
actually
all the services. Yeah.
Does that mean if we actually want to leave the door open for a PUD in the industrial district, we have to list some kind of residential use?
That's
Yes.
my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think we're talking mobile, multi-unit type dwellings. I think you're talking single family type
Right.
dwellings.
Because PUD is basically just cluster development of single family homes.
I mean, maybe it's duplexes, a
Right.
mix, but
Well, where I lived, it was like attached condos. Each condo was 2 stories. And the attached condos were used like 1 unit. It was a very nice, well-designed neighborhood. Probably one of the best I've seen so far since I moved to the United States. But it could be result a very good neighborhood if the developer is serious about providing a good quality housing. And it could be a disaster like a mobile home park if they are not proposing good services and good design.
Well, I'll weigh in.
Honestly, I do think it's discriminatory to start getting in conversations about whether a mobile home park is poorer quality or whatever than a PUD or a residential neighborhood or whatever. I mean, I'm in favor of allowing it as a conditional use. I mean, it'll still have to go through a lot of scrutiny. We need housing, period. It's the cheapest type of housing to get. It's regulated by the federal government for quality. Quality has improved a lot in recent years, and yeah, I don't know.
If we're allowing the mobile homes, then we can allow the multifamily dwellings, probably.
As I've said before, I'm fine with that too, but that would be one of the more radical changes that we're proposing in this. So I don't know if everybody's on board with that.
Well, I'm not.
And we
really,
still maybe need to address the issue of the divide between the south and the north industrial district.
that's what I want to do. I don't like if we make this, it opens a potential window that I don't think we want to open. I don't think it's a good idea. I think industrial should be industrial. And that any kind of housing in there is just, for a practical matter, doesn't make sense. And yes, we have an exceptional situation, and I think it needs to be addressed. And what you really need to do is talk to them as a development and ask them if, well, I don't even know if we need them involved, but I really think that that needs to be changed. Now, whether that actually makes sense as a definition of the village concept, which seems to be coming out. It's kind of a new thing that they're really pushing from the state, that we make that smaller area village mixed use, or we make it, some sort of other type of housing thing. I think we should address that then, and I think that has to be done on the map, which pushes me to the town plan. That's where I'm weighing in on it. And because also that'll give us a lot more public input into the vision of it. But if I'm outvoted, that's okay too. So as of right now, we've got Harry says we should add it. Brendan, who said what Harry said. If he's still on that. So I say we don't put that in and we punt on this. And I know Mill is excited to do something, and we can weigh what options we can. And one could be that possibly adjusting the regional plan map to help us with that. I'd rather take that approach as an immediate need. I'm sure Jason's going, I don't want to go back.
For what it's worth, it's rural general right now. There's nothing to prevent a mobile home park or reestablishing a business for that matter there.
So in the regional map, it's rural general, not industrial?
That one, yeah. The Artisans Park is industrial.
So ours is showing it as industrial.
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying the problem's already solved with the regional map?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, then why do we waste all this damn time? Jeez, okay. Okay, well, I say as long as that we change that to conform to the regional map, that's got to get approved. So the regional map would take precedent over ours anyway, wouldn't it, Jason? Is that how it works?
Not necessarily, but I mean, depends how you look at it. But I just want to make sure we think it through when there's
I agree.
good conversation and we can all generally agree.
Okay, so the best thing to do is what? Just punt on this, Jason? Just revisit it with the
Totally up to the majority vote here. I would encourage the wait and let's think it through and make sure we get it right approach, but whatever you guys want to do.
Okay. So I'm with right now. I'm with what Jason said. Mike, where are you at?
So wait until we're going through the town plan is what we're saying, to come back and address it then after.
I think that's basically what we're saying, and also, at that point we would be adopting a lot of the regional map. So, and making changes to it in our zoning anyway for the zoning.
Would we be
maps.
doing any of the changes we made? Like we made it literally from 60 to 50, it was from the front and side setbacks, so we just, I'm not touching any of it.
And the industrial, I don't think we need to.
Just don't touch any of it and come back to it. I'm fine with that. I mean, we don't have to, it sounds like, I mean, part of this, most of this exercise is about, getting into compliance, and this doesn't matter. So,
Right, and also we're trying to get more housing and, there is the benefit of trying to figure out a way to get the Miller project, but right now it's just a basic concept. I think once they start running some numbers and figure out where they are, it could be a moot point anyway, because, they'd have to go through CHIP or something to get water and sewer down there. It's my understanding that it may not even connect to our regular sewer, it's gonna connect to the southern sewer. There's a lot of things, a lot of factors that are coming into play down there, but so I'm saying punt. What do you say, James? You're the tiebreaker.
That's good. No, I agree with the sentiment. The Miller, I don't know anything about it at this point, but it is quite significant. So I think to go steady, I would feel if they put in a concept, then I don't know enough about the planning processes at this point, and I'll be learning quickly, I think. But if they've put in a concept, the idea of that is for us or somebody to respond and say, no, this is crazy, forget it, or it's good, or it's good, but, and to see if there's something there that is good for the town plan. It looks a great property. It could be a wonderful development for residential. It could also be a good industrial park. It's got Route 5 there, which is going to handle your typical traffic. I would feel to encourage them in parallel with the town plan and see if the two can align.
Yeah, I think that puts a good perspective on it. I agree with that. So we're basically going to leave this as it is. We'll change the minimum front setback and side setbacks as recommended by Holly. And then address it, because by that time they may have some sort of a concept they can come to us with, and like you say, and then we can adjust zoning appropriate to what would make sense and zone it the way we should. Okay. Ali, what's the next thing that we need to address, or do we want to say we're going to pause right here and then pick it up in 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're done with all the dimensional standards for the districts. Now we will move on. What is left? Not much.
Okay. Yeah, there isn't much left.
I will not be able to make it next meeting. It's
That's right.
Right, yeah.
All right. Well,
The document is there. What I will do is whenever there was an issue with the existing text, I will add it and keep only everything with the track changes. So
I think the rest of this is, I'm just doing a quick scroll, but I'm pretty sure the rest of it,
yeah, it's
we
only,
can probably, once you make the changes of what we had tonight, we can probably review this at the next meeting, and if we so desire, we could go ahead and approve it then. Does that make sense?
just make sure to turn the recording on, and the transcript is already with the recording so that I do the minutes and review exactly what happened.
And Jason, you may have a chance to look it over. I don't know if you can join us on Thursday, the, whatever it is, 20-something.
Third. Off the top of my head, but a third if I can. Somebody else can.
Right. But I mean, basically, when she delivers the product of the, this would be the proposed final, you could review it and catch anything that makes.
We can review it, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can go from there, because the rest of everything else in here, there's hardly anything that's changing.
So I have one question. This may be a question for Harry. On the section
under the conditional use review standards, section 5.3D, and I think you mentioned D and some of the deletions. On the one I was looking at yesterday, on the D3 and 4, the building design and protection of natural resources, they've both been, I guess, slated for deletion. And within the planning commission review, both those two look very, very helpful. So is there a reason there? And Harry, I think it's you that suggested deleting them as the information's maybe elsewhere.
Hallie, do you have those handy? I may have suggested deleting them. We haven't even talked about that section yet, I don't think. But I mean, that's just my suggestion in my markup. So I don't. Yeah. What section?
Yeah. So I was gonna say, Harry, and that was like feedback. I think you made that kind of like back in August of last year. So yeah, we've not talked about it recently.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm of the feeling that a lot of this, unless it is affected by what we did above. And I remember we had this discussion, and then I used my favorite term, that we want to make de minimis changes. We're not going in to make big changes. And as far as I'm concerned, conditional use review standards procedures is a bigger change. We're trying to just conform. And we're going to do the town plan, then we can come back. And whatever we decide the town plan would start driving the changes that we'd have in these sections, in my mind. But this is all part of that larger discussion that needs to happen. If I remember, that's kind of where we had put it, is we're going to make that part of that.
Harry, the nature of your feedback kind of centered on it, like being a little duplicative, maybe in some areas with like design review and things like that.
Yeah, I have loads of comments, but I assumed we had not discussed any of those sections, so I assume
No, definitely not. Yeah,
Ellie creates the hearing draft. They're not going to be incorporated into the changes.
So that's
This is a document that we have today, so I'm not sure where that.
Hallie, are you striking a lot of that stuff out in section 5?
Which section?
Let's get section
Article
5.3D.
5.3D.
I mean, anything with my name on is just my suggestions. They're not going to get incorporated unless.
Oh, that's
Here.
yeah, it's just markup where if you set the change would happen. But it was
It's all with track changes. We did not go through these yet. We did not discuss it until the moment since we started to review the changes. So it's not
I don't know how that got stuck there because it's not. Yeah, it's looking. That's because it was a document that Harry probably was playing around with earlier in stage when we were trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah,
That was way back
I
in
see your
August.
opinion, James.
That was just that is my comment on.
So my feeling is, unless there's something in here that's affecting the changes that we're trying to make from the zoning side, that I don't think we should be doing any of this at this point, unless there's something here that we really need to address.
I don't even know why this is in the draft that's being sent out with the agenda, to be honest with you, because I just had that in a separate document that I sent to the commission. But
Yeah, and that's one that an audience member brought up here out of your separate document, which is
Yeah,
Harry is
my mistake. I added that to the packet, but
they may have
so
gone.
this is the official document. Yeah, this is the official document, and I see that James added his comments. We did not discuss this part.
Yeah,
The last thing we reached is the zoning districts dimensional standards. We have not looked into this, and if you see the comments goes back to April to 2025 August. So it's been a while. We have to-
Haley, keep your screen as it is for a minute. Just scroll down. So Dan, you have a look at that. And I think it's you've printed out maybe based on how you want to see the track comments. That, the item 3 that's missing here on what you've just handed out, you see that's where it stands at the moment. So it should be.
That's not what it is.
That is not in the agenda packet. What's in the agenda packet has item 4 simply wiped away.
Right.
No
That's
evidence of it.
Right, but that's not the document that we're working on.
It's not a final document. We even did not go through these sections, so it has not been discussed
Those are
yet.
just comments to it. Nothing is actually being removed.
Yeah.
anywhere.
Okay, since we're on this, can I just re-emphasize that if you would put that strike out and underline or highlighted document in the agenda packet where we can see it, I would really appreciate it.
It should be there.
It's not.
When I'm looking
I
at it
looked
now.
in the agenda packet during the meeting 2 hours ago, and you have 2 documents that are the same as the one that's got that item 4 just completely
Okay.
gone.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure how that happened or what's going on with that. And I can see how it can be confusing.
It's not here, actually. I don't keep it here. Let me just look.
No,
I
it
don't,
doesn't matter what you have now, if you could just make a commitment to put that marked up document
it's
in the agenda
it is-
packet.
It should be in the agenda
It's
packet.
not
I'm
in the
using the
agenda.
one from the agenda package right now. That's what we're reading and working on. It's not the PDF. It's a Google Doc that we have the permissions to edit and for the commissioners. And I agree. The other ones probably shouldn't be there because it's confusing to the public. But they're working
Exactly.
on
It's not final. It's not final.
There's no Google Doc. There's a 4, is that the 4 documents?
Yeah.
Okay, that which goes up in the agenda packet. 2 of them are that has 5.3D4 completely obliterated. And the other 2 is an agenda and maybe some minutes.
Yes, right? Is proposed and adopted?
So you're saying it does not show when you
By page
click on
65,
the
Haley.
comment? It's the same actually for all. So whenever we have, let me look.
Should we take
I
this?
don't know. It did not print. It did not print with the track changes, but the document that we work on and we go through during the meeting is with the track changes.
Can you go to page 60?
63. 63 is one I've got, but somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Section 5.3.
Okay, let me see. I don't know what. section.
comments.
Yeah, the 4 from the 2023.
2026, this is 2023. This is.
But you don't need to worry about this document. You don't need to worry about it.
Actually, it doesn't exist. And it probably was a mistake that maybe in the packet, a human error. It's not the document we're actually.
It's exactly. The official document that will go out for the public hearing is the one that will be published
Comments that
with.
Harry made back in April.
We stand at the moment, so it's.
And those strikeouts, if you open the comments area, that was Harry's, he is reviewing and looking through and say, well, I think we should do that. It hasn't even been brought up, it hasn't been talked about, there's been no discussions. We just got there right now.
Can we just
So just because it's out doesn't mean it's really out.
No.
No. There's
Okay, that's all, that's what we
There's
need
like
to
4 or
hear.
5 working documents that move around that we're finished with one and they really should be just taken out of, put someplace where, I mean, so it doesn't confuse the public that these working documents are out there. That's the point that I'm saying is.
Show that, because I haven't got the comments. Okay.
And
So
it's not for
I'm in the
discussion
actual-
with the public at the moment.
So I can't see the comment. I just wanted her to see the comments on the side here. You see
Yeah, I
the
showed it to
rating,
him earlier and this was just stuff that Harry said.
Yeah, go back to 63.
Okay, good.
Well, I don't know. I can't hear through all the crosstalk that's happening over there, but clearly this is a clerical error. Apologies. That is,
Right.
yeah, it obviously got exported with the track changes accepted for some reason.
Okay.
Those were all suggestions that should not have been sent out as incorporated in the draft that went out with the agenda. So apologies for that. I'm sure we can fix that in the future. Those are all just suggestions until Hallie makes the change that we all discuss in the meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, and at this time, what I was saying is that a lot of the stuff that we're looking at in all of section 5, unless there's anything relative to the changes that are happening from the state standards, my feeling is we had a conversation about this at one time, that we weren't even going to address that it was going to stay as is, because this is all going to be covered under the town plan and needs to be rewritten according to what we want to do with the plan. And so there really is no reason to even go into any of those unless there's something in there that conflicts with 181 and Act 24, which I just asked Jason and his staff to take a look at, since Hallie can't be here the next meeting. And Hallie, I'm sure, going to review it again too. And then the document that we have, we will look at our next meeting. And at that point, hopefully that will be the time we will be able to have, go ahead and approve it to move on to the next step for public input.
I don't even know how these two versions got merged together. So ideally, we should just have Hallie keep an official version of the working draft that we have, and suggestions that James or I or Cliff or anyone else has made on there should be just kept separate, so we don't have this issue.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so at this point, is everybody okay with saying that we will address sections specifically? We don't need to go through septic use standards. We don't need to go through any of these things. So they're going to review for us the rest of the document. At that point in time, a lot of this is definitions. I don't see that any of that's going to change. And let's just review it, make sure we're achieve the goal of what we want, which is minimum changes required to get to conform with the state, and that's it. And when we hit that, we're going to go ahead and vote to say that we either approve it or not, and then put it out for public review. And that is when you guys are going to see the actual real document that has the real changes with everything that we're actually doing.
Showing track changes.
That's
what Alex said.
I think we're going to put it out with track changes. We're certainly going to do, when we set up a presentation, we're going to do a side-by-side that would, and we're going to talk about that. That's something that we need to do within our time frame between we're approving it and then having a public meeting. We need to have some visuals that make it clear as to what's going on. I don't know that we can approve the document with the side-by-side changes. I think we need to make the changes, right?
You can easily create like a compare, contrast. You can do.
Right, we can have a document, we can make a document available, but it wouldn't be the actual.
Yeah, I'm saying.
It can't be the actual document.
Right, I'm saying they care about the things that were changed. That's
right, and that's what you would think the public hearing was going to be. Here it is, and this is what was before. This is what it is now.
Yep.
Some sort of a, we need to put some sort of a presentation together that would be clear on that. So, are we good with that plan, everybody?
Yeah.
So Hallie, if you can work it up and get it to Jason, and then Jason can review it, and if possible, I don't know if Jason can meet with us the next time to kind of just make sure everything is good to go. I'd like to, at that point, if possible, go ahead and vote to get it approved and then move into the public comment stages.
We can certainly review it and let you know what our findings are, and hopefully we can be there, but one way or the other, we can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily would have to physically be here. This is, as long as we have a document that we can know is the correct document that we're going to vote on to say that this is exactly what we want to move forward for public review.
I mean, would it be a major problem if we didn't vote till the first May meeting, or do you think that puts us way? I guess I would want, whether it's Jason or Hallie, obviously can't make it here when we vote.
Let's find out whether it doesn't have to necessarily be Jason. Martha's working on it too, right?
Yeah, whomever, someone with, yeah.
Yeah.
As this is a question on process, I guess. As on the comment and the editing that we have, I think there's about 6 or 7 different people who are commenting on it.
Mm-hmm.
For the final one from the planning commission, it'll just be one set of comments from, the planning commission effectively with the track changes.
It should actually be, the final document we're going to vote on will have no comments.
Right. So,
But we need to put together a presentation that doesn't necessarily have to have the comments. What it has to have is what it was and what it is.
Mhm.
Don't know that it's relative the time and the days and who submitted what, because this process has gone on for over a year. So there is a lot of just back and forth and mismatch and talk and discussions that happen that are, nothing else could actually make it more confusing.
Mhm.
But I think it's, what it was to what it is a very simple way for everybody to look at it and understand it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's the important thing, is knowing I think everybody's concern, and it would be my concern, is what are the changes?
Yeah.
And how does it affect you? And that, to me, that's the bottom line. And I'm trying to maintain that the changes are actually the stuff that's mandated by the state to conform to state laws, that we're not delving into any kind of philosophical change on any part of it, because that really needs to be part of the town plan discussion. And then when we're done the town plan, everybody approves that, then we come back to the zoning, or adjust zoning to whatever we approve in the town plan. And then it's done. And that goal is to be done by the end of next year. Okay. All right. So if that's good enough, we're going to move on to other business. And I think what we officially have to do is to make a motion to add a second meeting monthly on the 4th Thursday of the month. If somebody would like to make a motion that we're going to add a second meeting on the 4th Thursday of the month for the planning commission.
Yes, I will make a motion that we make a second monthly meeting for the planning commission to take place on the 4th Thursday monthly.
Do we have a second?
Aye. So moved.
No. Harry, James beat you.
Oh, never mind.
Any discussion? Hearing none, then we will take a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
And Brennan, okay. Good. Now we've conformed to what we have to do. An official change made. And under other business, technically public comments, we're going to have Jason. You had some stuff you want to discuss with us?
Yes, I will try to be quick considering the hour. Good questions. So I think most of you know, the regional plan was proposed, that the Land Use Review Board is preparing comments on it. We should get those by roughly the end of this month from the Land Use Review Board. We've received a bunch of comments from others, and I wanted to circle back to the town officials and just check in. So not surprisingly to anyone in the room, a major point of conversation has been the Windsor prison. And our mapping methodology, in hindsight, we could have done it differently, but our mapping methodology was map parcels. The intent of what we had originally posed was for basically a redevelopment scenario of the prison site. And in our minds, that would be the 21.5 acre developable portion of the site only. So I want to clarify that. We can still talk about the merits of that, good or bad or otherwise, but I wanted to clarify that. We're waiting to hear what the Land Use Review Board has to say about the matter. They might, was they don't like what we're proposing. They might tell us they want it to be a transition zone instead of the village area that we're calling it now. I just don't know. But I know there's a bunch of comments regarding that whole idea. And so I want to just throw it out there and see what the Planning Commission thinks. If nothing else, we're probably going to want to remap it to be more precise, to be that 21.5 acre site.
That was the first thing that I had noticed on it too. And in fact, the LURB meeting, I pointed out to you and said, what the hell is this, Jason? This isn't gonna fly. Because obviously all the grasslands and all that area, we have no intent. I don't think there's anybody has any desire to do anything that would be disruptive in any of those areas. And I think the intent would be to have, some options on the property that we could exercise. And the problem with the way the zoning kind of reads on these things is it makes it imply that certain things are going to happen. And that doesn't mean they're going to happen. There's a lot of things that has to happen before they would happen.
Many things.
I know that there, and I've read the comments too. There are some abutting property owners and others that feel that literally nothing should happen. It should be torn down, reclaimed back to just a natural area. I really feel strongly that at some point in time, that question needs to be put to the voters of the town. That, in my mind, is the proper and fair way to do it. To say what should happen up there. And I think that could come along, but we can't do it now because we don't own it. I think my question was to you, and I looked at it then and said, I understood you were doing it by parcel. So when you do it by parcel, it looks like it's all of that is buildable with condos everywhere. And I know that's not the intent. The problem is that it goes back to, as James likes to point out, well, you could. So I would like to, is it possible to change that to where it really is that lower area that, or can you not do that without subdividing? What's the technical side of that?
So we can, and in hindsight, we probably should have done that from the get-go. But yeah, I think we're thinking of mapping just that 21.5 acre bit, nothing else. Again, I'm open to the conversation. I really want to know what the Planning Commission and the Select Board think, for that matter. And I really do want to see what if the LURB tells me it's a no-go, then might have to do something different.
I think we need to do that, and I think we need to keep the remainder of it as resource, like it is.
Okay.
And that's the only small area that we have that, and again, there's a lot of practical things that are going to come up that may prevent anything from going there. And I think at the point, I just don't want to, right now at this stage of things, and I want everybody's opinions because it's not me talking for everybody here. I just feel options need to stay on the table. And then when the proper time comes, that we actually weigh those options, determine what we want to do with it. Okay, I've had my say. Who's next?
I mean, I agree the map needs to be redrawn to the area discussed. And I'm not endorsing any project there. I'm endorsing the possibility of it, which I think is kind of what you said. But,
Right.
So that's very closely mirrors probably what you said, but I think the possibility of something needs to be on the table.
I mean, personally, I think the existing proposal that's actually shown in the plan, I don't like that anyway. It's too high a density. It's too much there.
I don't think it either. Yeah.
I don't think that would ever fly, and I don't agree with that by any means. I think that area should have more, but it doesn't. But 90 units, no, not. But that's a personal thing. That's me talking. James, we've driven all around by there and we're around the area. We had
Yeah.
a wonderful chilly day looking at everything. What is your feeling about it?
I think it's the way to go. You've got a developed area right in the middle. You know, it's got bricks and mortar and 2x4s. So it's hard to say it's not, you know, the 14 acre within the fence and the solar. I think the solar farm is classified as developed. So if you've got that 21.5 acres that's already developed, if we were to take it back to the wilderness kind of thing, that's a lot of money to demolish it and take it back. So you've got this area that's developed. Then the rest of the land is really more aligned to the conservation area or the wildlife management part under the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. So to me, it makes more sense that should stay as the outside. So I think to look at what we can do inside the fence. I mean, it's quite it's an interesting project in the sense of what's nice to have. Where's the money going to come from? Because so it's hypothetical, as you say, because this town doesn't have ownership or control of it yet. So I'm supportive of.
And what I'm saying too is, and I think you're saying the same thing, on the map that you have, I don't know if everybody can see this, probably not.
Yeah, and I did bring.
Oh, you did?
Paper copies.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is.
Could you take your pen and draw the line where you think it should be? That would be much
Well,
easier.
it's actually this red. This is a slightly different map. There's a red outline.
Right.
Everyone wants to see it. Feel free. There's a red outline around. So that's what we're talking about.
Right. The yellow outline already is. Okay. Now, the thing that confused me though is the square there where the existing prison buildings are.
Mm-hmm.
What's the intent with this? That would become part of the village area too, right? That we could then do whatever changes made sense inside of there, or what are you saying?
You know, this is conceptual. State still owns it, you know, a lot would need to happen to make this a possibility. We're looking at it from a couple of points of view. It's a very underutilized facility as it is right now.
Right.
There's infrastructure there right now.
Okay, I see your red line here. That's different.
This red line is basically saying this is where there's buildable area based on.
I was talking about this one. How much? What is this black building here that's isolated?
That's the sort thing.
Gotcha.
Is that included in the 21.5 or
That's excluded.
excluded?
Excluded. And I don't know if we'd include all that room. My point is, our intent was this very small area. And our intent is not to have 100 or some big number of houses in there. I think it's much more likely to be 20 or 40 or something at the vast majority, ultimately.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's what we were originally thinking, and we can clarify that in a revised map. Or I think it's really possible the LURB will tell us no, forget it.
Yeah.
Crazy. But we'll see what they say.
Harry?
Yeah, I think James and Mike said it very well. I mean, just because we're trying to leave the door open to the possibility that maybe in the future something can happen there. We're just not foreclosing on it. Obviously, we're not endorsing any particular project that's light years away at this point. You know, we've gone over this issue many times in the past, but I obviously support, reducing the mapped area to the size that Jason has proposed, and yeah, leaving the door open, but lots of stuff has to happen between now and something ever being actually proposed, let alone developed there. So,
Brendan?
Our favorite subject. Yeah, my feeling is generally, as I've always felt, that whatever we can do to turn it back into wilderness it is where my heart lies. And in my heart, I think that's where we will it'll ultimately end up, because people who have a lot of big feelings about this want to make sure that, you know, it turns back into wilderness, and they're going to fight pretty hard for that. My one feeling about why we should do what everyone else is saying is that by keeping the door open, we can hold the state accountable for cleaning up the mess they left there, and cleaning up the brownfield too, which I'm pretty sure is up there. So I have a little bit of mixed feelings on it, I guess. You know, I agree with you guys that if we say no, from my perspective, the state will do less to try to maintain that area. So, but I think ultimately, I think I'll be the protest voice and say, let's leave it so that it's, you know, wilderness, wherever that thought falls into this conversation.
Okay, that's good. I like healthy dissent. That's important, and it opens ideas and new sides of it. We'll have time for a comment, but right now we have to give him our feedback, and then you can certainly come and give yours. So I think I agree. I think we're looking at reducing it on the map to make it make more sense. Where we draw the lines is something that I think I'll defer kind of to your judgment when you're seeing the practicality of things when you actually do it. But approximating that area seems to make sense. I know the other plan that was shown, there's a plan for about 34 acres, which encompasses a little bit more. And I don't know that really isn't that big of a difference between anything. To me, I'd rather leave the door open for more and options. And certainly at that point, let's see what the LURB says, and let's, at some point in time, if the state ever comes along, I of the mind that if we do push this, then I agree. I think no matter what, it'll push the state to have to not stick us with a lot of it. And I think that's an important part for us. I mean, Windsor's got the short end of the stick too many times. So that's kind of my feeling. And it's public comment time, so if you'd like to come up briefly.
Have you taken into account the Department of Fish and Wildlife input on this?
I'm still working my way through some of that stuff, and I've not talked to them directly. So
have you read their report on the matter?
Partially, not fully at this point.
Okay, and have you looked at the map in their report?
I will be reviewing it in more detail. I haven't done a lot of the so much stuff. I'm looking into it. We're going through the comments now and we're making sense.
Okay. What I thought I heard James say was that the area inside the fence, about 14 acres, was okay, but the area outside the fence, not okay. That area outside the fence borders deer wintering area, as you'll see on the Department of Fish and Wildlife report map. And you can throw Act 250 away if it's designated Tier 1B, I suppose. But throwing Act 250 away on a site that's right adjacent to a wildlife management area is really objectionable.
Okay.
So I hope you consider what they have to say.
I certainly will.
Okay.
Okay, good points. Any other public comment? I'm sorry?
Thanks for all the work you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'll just say, just for everybody's benefit, or to refresh your memories, this is the regional plan we're talking about. That was a preliminary application review that the land use review board is doing. We're going to be making some changes. There's 2 public hearings that we have to have. And once we, or at least 2, I guess, maybe there could be more. After we're done with that, there's going to be our boards voting to adopt it. And then it goes back to the land use review board for their final approval. So there's plenty of opportunities for input. And I definitely want to continue our conversation. So certainly we'll be looking at the details and we want to just talk more about it. But really, thank you for your input tonight. And we'll be making some changes and we'll provide it back to you, and more questions and comments are welcome.
Okay. And I want to make it clear too, that our comments and what we're doing now is just that he's asking us to kind of give our 2 cents to what's going on. This is the regional, not our local side. And so, I mean, he doesn't even have to come and ask us anything technically. So I think it's good that he's coming to the town officials and trying to get as much input as possible. I think this is going to be a contentious thing. I think there's going to be, there will be no absolute consensus that everybody's going to say, yeah, we want this. I recognize that that's never going to happen here. And so there's got to be debate, and there's probably, like many of these things, many times there may have to be some compromise. But right now, I'm going to reinforce the last comment that I made at the LURB meeting, that I believe this commission really doesn't need to be focusing on that. It is not our purveyance it goes by the regional plan. It goes by so many other things. The day will come that it will come before this commission if the state decides to make a change. Otherwise, the day will never come. We have a lot of work to get done. And if we sidetrack and focus on this, which we know they couldn't even begin to put a shovel in the ground for at least 2 to 3 years, if not longer. And right now we have to finish our town plan. That's what we're tasked to do. That's what we have to get finished, and we have a deadline to get it done. And that's, from the commission standpoint, that's going to be the priority. I think if you have some strong opinions about what's happening with those sections, that should be addressed to the LURB and to Jason. But we don't have any authority one way or the other, and we're not involved in that process. That's not up to us. It's up to LURB, the state of Vermont, and the Regional Planning Commission. We get to talk about the fun stuff. Should it be 10 or 12 feet setback from the road? That's what we're trying to figure out, and how we can get more housing, and the proper kind of housing and the proper kind of growth in Windsor. That's our mission. So I just want to be clear on that. That's my comments. Does anybody else would like to finish with some comments?
Just welcome James again, and thanks for everyone for hanging out for 3.5 hours. Appreciate it. James, any comments?
Harry?
Can we keep these meetings to 2 hours in the future?
I'm
joking, but I'm not joking. Especially if we're going to 2 meetings a month, can we keep these to 2 hours?
I don't see any reason not to, but we had to get to this. We had to catch up because we've lost a month. So I think it was, we did pretty good, I think. But yes, I agree. I don't want to go through this again. So Harry, you're not drinking a beer, are you? Not sharing. Come on.
I'm drinking a polar seltzer, ginger aid. Thank you very much.
Okay. Brendan, comments?
I was going to suggest 3 6-hour meetings a month if you guys are down. And Harry, I'm drinking a ginger lime mule polar seltzer also.
That's very the same.
Yeah.
Same here.
Good choice of beverage.
No, we have consensus. At least we have consensus from Brendan on something. At that point, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to adjourn the meeting at 9:39.
All right. Thank you all.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
This is going to be a long.
Thank you all. Cliff, can you please just take the names of the public?
I'm sorry?
Names of public, yeah. You want to get them to sign?
Yeah, there's a sign-up sheet over there. They were supposed to sign up. They didn't.
Just said it says select board though, yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thanks, Howard. But you have a one thing you addressed the plan commission.
I'm just ready to.
Nobody else.
Dan Jones, right? And who are you?
Rhoda, RHODA, War.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
That was based on something, you know, I don't even know what it was either, but the point is.